All right, episode 9, where I interview a different commander every single week. And tonight I have New Tone from FTL, Flying Tortoises, a new guild. Correct me if I'm wrong, New Tone. New
Yep,
Tune.
new guild, new guild.
New guild. You can tell me a little bit about the history in a bit, but they're a new guild on Dragonbrand, correct?
Yep.
On Dragonbrand. All right. So, as I'm sure you know, I like to interview a different commander every week, from different types of guilds, small, large, EU, C, OCX. Um, Last week I actually interviewed my first two EU region commanders and my first female commanders as well. It was a pretty amazing experience. Fiona and Luna, if you're out there, a shout out. Thanks for taking the time. They stayed up till 4 a.m. in Germany to sit down and chit chat with me. I felt really bad that I messed up their work day the next day and probably their sleep schedule, but I appreciated them, hopping by and spending the time. So, New Toon. I'm gonna keep calling you New Tone. I'm gonna be honest with you. Maybe it's time for a name change. But New Toon,
Maybe.
tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a student in school. I major in hardware, computer software. Um, yeah, I I go to school full time, so and I command on the side.
So let me ask you this. Oh, people are saying they can't hear you. You're gonna have to turn up. I'm gonna turn you up, but maybe move the mic. Can you? You want to say something again?
Testing, testing,
Turn you up a bit more. All right. You want to hit it again just in case?
testing, testing, testing.
All right. There you go. All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I'm sorry to make you repeat it.
All good, all good. I'm a student in school. I major in computer hardware and software. I command with a few guilds on Dragon Brand over my time. On my off time.
Okay. And I asked this, of every commander thus far. To date, I've interviewed 9 commanders, if you include the 2 from episode 8. I've interviewed 9 commanders. Of the 9 commanders that I've interviewed, 8 of them are in positions of leadership, either at work or at school. Um, so, just out of curiosity, are you in a position of leadership? Either I guess in your schooling or your job or internship or anything like that.
Yes, I do. I do lead in the tech department area of my school. We have like a branch off department that runs around the local school area and businesses around it and etc.
So you're in a leadership position where you're in charge of a group of people IRL as well.
Yes.
Okay. So that's 9 for 10 then. 9 out of the last 10 commanders I interviewed are all in leadership positions IRL as well. It's an interesting fact, actually. And how long have you been commanding?
Roughly 8 months.
Oh, that's it. How
Yep,
long have you been playing the game?
fairly new. Well, I bought the game in 2014. My dad actually introduced me to the game like 6 years back. And I ran with this guild called ORT for a long time, and I just sat there and ran with them for a long time. But I recently came back to the game about a year ago and started running around with guilds on Dragon Brand, and I kind of got hooked.
What guild did you come back to?
I came back into VIP,
Okay.
and then no shame, no shame in the game, but branched off from there, and I did command with gods for a little bit, but it didn't work out. So right now, VIP didn't want a static group to happen, so me and a friend, also a VIP commander, left and made the Flying Tortoises.
So is it fair to say that FTL is basically all the competitive players that were in VIP that wanted to perform better, be more competitive,
Yes,
get a little bit more serious about World v World?
yes.
So how much of the VIP roster would you say that you guys picked up?
Well, right now we have about 60 concurrent players in the guild, and I'd say about 20 to 30 of them are from VIP.
Oh wow, so you guys have grown pretty well. So just so it's clear, I fought you guys a bunch last week. There was a diplomatic incident. We can talk about that later if you want, between me and I think that's the other driver you're talking about. What's
Yeah,
his name?
Pointy, Stoich.
Pointy. Yeah, it's Pointy Stoich. We can talk about that later. But I fought these guys. They're pretty active, and correct me if these are this is misstatement of the facts. But you guys are active, during EU, and you're active during NA.
Yes.
And
We
what do you?
tend to be more active during the NA Prime, but sometimes we have like how do you word it? Like incompetent runs. We just randomly tag up in tier
Yeah,
3.
just like other groups, you just kind of pugman.
Yep.
And then how many do you guys for your private raids? How many players do you typically run with? How big are your raids?
Well, currently we aren't private rating since we did start roughly a month ago,
Okay.
but we're concurring 20 players at least, maybe more depending on the day when it comes to NA Prime.
Okay, that's a good size. That's a decent size. All right. And what class do you drive on?
I drive on a Guardian or sometimes a Mesmer.
And you've been commanding the entire time for the last year and a half?
Not fully for the year and a half, only about 8 months.
8 months. Okay. Okay. So you command on a Guardian Mesmer, and do you is it like 50-50, or do you prefer one or the other?
Definitely the Guardian over the Mesmer
Guardian
right
Mesmer.
now.
Okay. And you're not the main commander of the guild, correct?
No.
Okay. I mean, tell us a little bit more about FTL then.
FTL is a goal-driven guild. We're branching off and DB, and we're trying to pick up as many players as we can before alliances form. Some of the guilds, like VIP, they don't like the fact that we're picking up some of the players, but most of those problems will go away as alliances form. But
Do you guys have like bad blood? Is there bad blood, or it's kind of
well,
competitive blood?
it wouldn't. I wouldn't really call it bad blood, but the VIP owner, one of them, um, takes our actions the wrong way, like promoting the guild, running when they run. They think we're doing it out of bad blood since we left VIP, but that's not the.
So, I think it's just so we're clear, the VIP guild leader, and I had a past interaction. I don't mind sharing it. I mean, we're talking here from one commander to another. His name is what's his name? Something.
Squirrel
Squirrel
Master.
Master. Squirrel Master.
That.
That's right. So we were on DB, for a stint for about 2 months, as a guild linked to it, and I didn't have a very positive, interaction with him. And I like to give everyone a fair shake. I like to, anyone can play the game however the fuck they want. It's just a game at the end of the day. But I found that, and I don't say this lightly, and I don't say it often, but I found him to be quite toxic, quite frankly. He was very, you know, very arrogant and toxic towards, us as a link server, where, he felt like we owed them something for being linked to DB, which is an interesting attitude to have.
Yes. When it comes to
It was very,
Squirrel
very like high-handed, I guess you could say. Like it was very just arrogant, quite frankly. And that's coming from me. That's me
I would
saying that it was
say
arrogant.
he tries. I don't want to like diss Dragon Brand or the guilds on it, but he tries to like act like they established Dragon Brand like 4 years ago. They're the OG guild, so they should be able to say what goes and what doesn't go. So
Yeah, that's
I mean,
that's the
it's
sense I
caused a
got
lot of
because
problem.
as the link server, he was like, "You guys should be, you guys are linked to us." So when we say goes, I was like, "Bro, like it doesn't make a difference with the link of the host, my man. Like that don't matter. That doesn't mean anything." You know what I mean? But it was weird. It was certainly weird.
Yeah, that's what's led most of the guilds on Dragon Brand to leave the server is because they formed bad blood with VIP and it just ends up in a chunk of results. So
Yeah.
VIP is not going to port their um, 500 people that actively play World versus World to a different server, but they'll.
Yeah, they can't. I
Yeah.
don't think anyone wants them, quite frankly. But enough about them. How about you guys? So when did you guys form up?
About a month ago.
Okay, so you're a month-old guild, and what's the leadership structure like in your guild?
Right now we have a small leadership. It's me and Pointy with a few other
Okay.
recruiters and a few scribes making some stuff for the guild. But other than that, we're leveling up the guild right now since it's brand new. We're only at like level 24, but
Okay.
it's getting there
That
slowly
that's
but
pretty
surely.
good for level 24 per month is actually pretty fucking good. You must have some hard carriers over there.
We definitely grind out the guild missions, that's for sure.
Nice. That's actually really good. 1 month level 24. That's actually you're pretty much at the like the there's a little bit of a a cap of how much you can progress the guild in a period of time. So you're hitting those windows. How many commanders do you guys have? Just the two of you, right?
Just the two of us, yes.
Okay. Are you developing more commanders?
We'd like to keep it small, but who knows down the road? Maybe have a one or two more. Who knows?
Okay. And what days do you guys run?
We run every day of the week at 8 p.m. Eastern. We do trainings on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays is our class training, and Thursdays is our movement training to
So wait,
improve
you
our.
guys are a 7 day a week guild?
Yes.
That's pretty rare to see, actually. Interesting. Do you find that you have the necessary, uh, participation from your members to support a 7 day a week guild? Let me put it this way: very few guilds in the game can be 7 day a week guilds. It's hard to be a 7 day a week guild.
Well, when it comes to the end of the like the week, the end of the reset or the matchup, it gets slighter. But when it comes to reset night and the weekends, we get a lot more like 30 to 40 players in our squad. But it lowers down to just the core guild members when we
And what's the goal? Like, yeah, you guys split off from VIP. You wanted to be more competitive, but what's the end game? Are you trying to be a fight guild, a
Yep, yep,
GVG guild, just a World
yep.
v World guild?
We tend on being a we plan on being a fight guild for Dragon Brand. We don't want to take it too heavy, but we definitely don't want to be getting pushed around or anything like that. But winning our
So you,
fight is definitely our goal.
you want to stay on DB?
We do. I wouldn't say we don't want to stay on DB, but we've been thinking about moving. But since alliances are right around the corner, we don't want to make all of our members, spend their money and gems
Yeah, makes
on a
sense.
on a switch and us get alliances, 3 weeks later and boom, your money is worth.
Well, I was gonna ask this later on in the interview, but I can ask it now. So, what are your plans for alliances? Have you guys started reaching out to some guilds? Have you started, talking about it? And not to bring it up prematurely, but I understand what Stoich said to me, what he was threatening to do. But beyond that, I'm gonna assume that was just like an idle threat. But we can talk about that later. Beyond that, what are your proper plans for alliances?
We actually, our plan is to wait until alliances plan out to see what ANET has brought to the table before we start forming alliances.
So you
A few
haven't talked to
people,
anybody?
no, a
Hmm.
few people have messaged us, but we just keep them on hold and we tell them,
Interesting.
we're gonna have to see how it plans out.
I think you'll find, and obviously, this is not the case for everyone, but I think you'll find that a vast majority of the guilds out there have already started forming up alliances, officially or unofficially. I think if you guys are really making a sincere go at this is just my opinion, obviously. It may not hurt to at least start talking to various guilds so that at the end of the day you're not just left with what's remaining is you can actually pick and choose who you want to ally with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can understand that, but
Because everyone that I've interviewed thus far, every single commander guild that I've interviewed thus far, they're all allied up. They're all fully allied up across the board. So I don't think there's gonna be
not up yet.
many pickings left if you wait too long, so to speak.
That's more of a Stoich's choice when it comes to the alliances, but
Right. No, no. I mean, you
we're
gotta
pushing
you gotta make a decision as a guild,
we're
but
pushing for it, yeah, as a guild.
Someone actually asked, so how long do you guys run in the evening when you guys do run?
We run 2 to 3 hours every night.
Okay, okay. And who does your theory crafting? Do you guys run meta builds? Do you let people join on any classes? I mean, do you run meta? I'm assuming you run meta.
We have meta builds posted in the Discord, but most of our members run meta builds. But the pugs, you obviously can't require them to run meta.
All right.
But
But everyone in your guild runs meta.
yes,
Okay. Okay. And that's who does your theory crafting, or do you guys use like the public builds?
we just use the public meta builds right now, but
Okay.
down the line we'll probably get some theory crafting going.
All right. I mean, I think most guilds out there use the public guilds as a base, and then they adjust, depending on the style of the commanding, or just on the style of, the playability and the strengths of their DPS versus their support players.
Yeah,
So I'd say it's fair to characterize majority of the guilds out there all have the same base. There's just minor differences, which
yeah,
kind of it adds, and this is my opinion. I don't know what your thoughts are. It makes it a little bit dry because there's not too much ingenuity between all the groups. They're all kind of running the same shit. But on the flip side of it, at least means things are pretty balanced.
yeah. Things do get tend to get boring, after fighting the same group with equal comps. But you gotta find a way to spice it up some way. But I'm sure as alliances form, different builds will probably be made with the new End of Dragons expansion coming out with new specializations, and hopefully the meta changes.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's you know bound to happen. I don't think it's even a question. There's gonna be some type of meta change. How much it changes, I guess that's a question. Did you guys play any of the new classes as a guild?
No, we did not. We barely made it around for the thing, and we weren't fully set up, so we just let it pass.
Right. That makes sense. If you guys, I know you guys, I asked all the commanders this, but I'll ask you. You don't have to answer because you may not have an answer, but I've asked every single one. If you guys were to have a rival or arch nemesis, what guild would that be? And if you don't have one
Um,
because you're a young guild, that's fine too.
right now, our biggest opponent would be our own server, to be honest with you. Yeah,
Your greatest enemy is fucking DB, bro.
that's what they call us poachers, and they kick us from their Discord.
Oh my
They
god,
kick us from their Discord when we
that's
try to join
toxic.
comms
That's
because we're
toxic.
promoting or something. I don't know.
Here and this is exactly what we saw there too. Like they're for whatever fucking reason, the people, and I'm generalizing a bit here. So if you're on DB, I apologize, but this is what I found generally. They're very insecure. Like people there thought because I was promoting our Discord for people to join our Discord that we're doing it for some nefarious reason. Like I don't need to recruit on DB to be successful. I was just doing it to get the map organized, and the culture over there is and I'll say this frankly, like, and I don't think I've hidden it. If you've watched my streams before, you know what I mean. I don't like hate anybody, and I don't judge any server, more often than not. But I found it when I was playing on DB to be very painful. I found it to be very painful, and I found it to be extremely unfun. It just was so counterproductive. It was so hard to get organized. It was so hard to get people, competitive over there. It was almost like not worth my time. And I'm a fucking pugmander to the bone. Like that's all I do.
The pugs on here don't tend to learn meta. They're more casual, so it's harder to get things done on Dragon Brand. But that's why we made a guild, and hopefully we can get it sorted out.
I wish you guys the best of luck. I think DB needs guilds like yours, quite frankly. I hope if there's anyone out there from DB and you're looking to become competitive in World v World, you should look to a guild like this because at the end of the day, if they're able to find the balance of bringing some competitiveness to the server, either in a guild fashion or a pugman fashion, it's a good thing. Because let's be real here. I mean, DB is not looked at as a competitive server at all in the slightest. You're probably at the bottom echelons. of fucking fighting, and that's been historical.
Yeah, we do have a bad past of fighting, and we're stuck at tier 4, but it's kind of a server decision. People don't run meta, they don't join comms, so I mean, there's only so much you can do, but
It's a great opportunity for you if you guys got the patience to fucking string it out. Like 2 months was 2 months too long for me to be linked to DB. I hated it. It was the fucking worst link that I've ever had. You know, quite frankly, ever. But there is opportunity there too if you're willing to put up with the bullshit. I just don't know how much bullshit you're willing to put up with.
hopefully Alliance either hopefully we get this sorted out, or hopefully Alliances swing around sooner or later, but
All right. Yeah, I mean, best of luck to you guys, though. I give you guys the utmost props for trying, and I hope you succeed. We need more, world v world oriented guilds out there that try to be successful, that try to be competitive, and that aren't just feeding bags like VIP with no, disrespect, quite frankly.
our pairing though, Sanctum of Raw, they're pretty good when it comes to fighting. They have a decent group of guilds, SCF, SF, Mist. They have quite a
I,
few guilds.
I think generally, on the whole, you can see how competitive a server is by their comms participation rate. Like if a server has a high comms participation rate, then they're more often than not pretty competitive. If they have a low comms participation rate, they're basically just feeding bags. I don't know what your thoughts are.
No, that's 100% true. If you're not willing to join comms, then your server's not going to do good, and that's just how it is. You can't participate in world versus world running a ranger that's not meta, and or a class that's not meta, in fact, like, and non-comms. It's just not going to happen.
I'm surprised you guys haven't gotten more support in trying to get DB organized.
Well,
If,
VIP does have a big word in everything that goes on in VIP, and like I said, they think we're poaching the guilds, and well, mainly their guild, because they built this big community around Dragon Brand, and no one else can have
but
any of the
that doesn't
members.
matter. They're ineffective. I think by any objective metric, all right, and this is just my opinion, but by any objective metric whatsoever, VIP as a guild, and currently, let's not include the last month because I don't think it's fair to put you guys into this category because you're a new guild. But let's say by any objective metric, VIP as a guild and DB as a server is ineffective. No matter what you may think of the people, the results speak for themselves. It's an ineffective fucking server, both you know fight wise, PPT wise, you name it. It's just bumpkiss over there.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And it's not from a lack of players because DB actually has a very healthy population. There's a lot of fucking players over there. A lot of fucking players. Like, I want everyone to know this. Like, DB has a fuckload of players over there. They just don't want to fucking get anything done in any organized fashion whatsoever, and they just seem content being bags and speed bumps. And I don't know why that is. I didn't understand the culture when I was there. It's like they don't want to be helped, they don't care to be helped, and they're fine just like, feeding the enemy. I don't get it. How can that be fun?
Well, yeah. Most groups on here, they don't run meta, they don't run comp. They're not going for anything static-wise to fight other groups. They're more about that points per tick, and they're okay with getting ran over and over and over and over again by guilds and not looking at it. They're like, oh, sugarcoating it. Oh, we're doing good, guys. Just, they're running that trash. OP's all running the trash. Like, this guild's running this.
Whoa, whoa,
Really,
whoa. What about OP? What did we'll talk about that later.
you know,
You're free to you're free. Listen, you I will. You're free to say whatever you want on the program, even if you have some shade to throw my way or OP's way. You can say it. I just hope you say it respectfully because you're entitled to your opinion, and it goes both ways. So don't be afraid to hold back here. You should certainly be honest. Just say it respectfully is all I ask.
oh no, 100%.
But that being said, I don't know. I think if there was a actual community that wanted to improve and work together, I think there's potential for DB to be a very powerful server. But I mean, I don't think they want to improve, and I don't think they care to improve, and that's just my opinion.
Yep, agreed. There's no helping people that don't want to improve at the game.
Who is your least favorite commander to fight? And you may not have one. I've asked every commander this, but you guys are a new guild, so you may not have a least favorite commander to fight yet. But if you do, who's your least favorite commander to fight?
Well, we haven't actually fought too many different servers. We've only really fought like 6 servers, so we don't really have any favorites or least favorites so far. But I'm sure as we go down the road of fighting and commanding, we'll find our enemies and friends in the
It's bound to
battlefield.
happen. It's bound to happen. No, it's a fair answer. Figured I'd ask because I asked every single commander the same question. Um, but what are your thoughts of the direction ANET is taking for World v World? I know you guys are a newer guild, but you have been commanding about 8 months. You played the game since 14. I mean, what's your general thoughts on the direction ANET is taking for World v World? And I think your
Um,
perspective is important because of this. Number one, you've now formed a new guild. On probably the worst. Let me say this appropriately. You've now formed a new guild in probably the most, or one of the most, maybe not the most, but one of the most toxic settings out there. Trying to do a good thing for your own guild, but for the general populace at large, and you have a lot of struggle ahead of you, a lot of hard work ahead of you. But that being said, what are your thoughts on World v World and the direction ANET is taking it?
Warfare World's kind of at a standstill right now, but coming with alliances, a lot of things are bound to change. They're going to spread out the servers, which is good. Everyone's going to be fighting who they want to fight, when they want to fight, and I think that's going to be good for the population. For the people that don't want to fight, maybe they get put with the PPT guilds that, all PPT, and they might fight so often, but ANET's doing a good job so far, but they do lack keeping us updated. I do know that they updated us not too long ago about the cancellation of the beta, which was finally a nice relief from ANET, but alliances are going to do a lot of good for guilds like us that need players that want to fight and need a, another guild to run alongside, and you know stuck on a server where you have to pay money to get out and experiment. I mean, alliances are the best experimentation for smaller guilds and guilds that want to improve in World versus World.
Actually, no commander has put it that way yet. Most commanders have presented it in the manner that it'll allow them a better variety of access to different enemies. You're the first commander to put it that it's going to allow you better access to recruitment and people to play alongside, which is actually an interesting point and I think a fair one. But no one has yet to bring it, you know, towards any of these interviews, at least from that perspective. So you're less concerned about who you're fighting. You're more concerned about who you're fighting with.
Well, right now our guild is, I wouldn't say ineffective, but with 20 concurrent players fighting these bigger alliances that are going to be formed up. Say, for instance, your guild, you run 35 comped out, well experienced World versus World players. A guild like mine can't fight that, but I mean, if we expand through the alliances and maybe recruit some more experienced World versus World players and players that are willing to improve, then maybe one day down the road we could take that fight on.
But to be fair, and I just have to put this out there. To be fair, you can't fight that yet, which is the point that you made, right? But also to be fair, for me, and people don't like to think about this, but it's a fact. OP was created in March of 2020. This is a COVID guild, basically. It got created when Tiff and I came back to the game due to COVID restrictions, and we're all stuck at home. And with the exception of me, Tiff, and two other players, every single person in OP has never played together one way or another. OP was a guild built from scratch from March 2022 today. So I mean, if anyone wants to likes the way OP performs in any way, shape, or form. You may not like me, and that's fine. That's your right to not like me. But if you like the way OP is able to perform in any way, shape, or form, it's replicatable. Anyone can duplicate what I've done. It's not fucking rocket science. It's not magic. It
Yeah,
takes time, commitment, and the desire to fucking build something, special and unique.
yeah, it takes a long time to, well, not like a long time, but it takes a decent amount of commitment and time to put together a guild that runs together, that hasn't ran together before, and make them into a great competitive fight squad. And that's what you've done right here with OP. And FTL's trying to be the same way. We're trying to, expand, become a fight guild that, you know, never, none of us, not really any of us have played together except like 3 or 4 of us in VIP, and the rest of us are brand new to the table. So it'll be fun building up our guild, 1 month old, and we're doing pretty good.
I wish you guys the best of luck. If you need any support or help, by all means, I'm happy to help and give my 2 cents. Actually, believe it or not, a lot of the guilds that we fight against, some of their commanders, ask me the next day or the evening of, hey, what did you think of the fights? And I'll give straight information. In my honest opinion, more competitive guilds is better for the game than less, in the general sense. 100%. People still have to put in the fucking work and effort. I'm not gonna, necessarily do everything for you, but if you want a helping hand, there's no reason for anyone to reinvent the wheel in GW2 2021. You might as well learn, what works and what doesn't, rather than try to figure it out yourself. You should be spending more of your time on implementation and synergy building, rather than trying to figure out, a meta for yourselves. Quite, in the simplest sense.
Yeah.
But like, so beyond alliances, back to my question. You know, what else do you think ANET should be doing in regards to World v World? Like, what else would you like to see? And I
Well,
once again, I want to stress that your perspective is actually unique from every single person that's come, to the show before, because everyone else that's come to the show before has all been part of older guilds, all of them. So you're the first person that I've interviewed that's the commander of a newer guild. So your perspective is important, because I think when ANET looks at World v World and looks to make changes for World v World, they should be looking towards the wide spectrum of players, old players, new guilds, old guilds, large guilds, small guilds, medium guilds, roaming guilds. They should be able to bring something to the table that caters to all these types of players and guilds. So, as a new player, not a new player, I apologize, a new guild, what else would you like ANET, what else would you like ANET to do for World v World?
well, a lot of players put a lot of time into the game mode, and I don't feel like we're necessarily getting the right rewards for it. Putting in all this time, barely pulling pips, and all this other stuff. They're they're covering up their, how do I put it, their laziness at ANET with 2 extra pips. We need more content. We need new items, new siege, anything good to help the commanders, like commander items, like, I don't know, like UI. It's a lot of stuff that they could really work on, but instead they give 2 extra pips, which, is cool and all, but we'd rather see some better improvements with the gameplay.
So, when you say better improvements for the gameplay, are you saying? You want better rewards, or do you want, better gameplay as in objectives for World v World? Like, what exactly are you saying?
For War v World, I feel like they need to add more events. Double XP is cool. No downstate is really bad for guilds like us right now in our stage. They need to add new events because not all guilds can fight in no downstate and do anything. Because some guilds, I'm sure you've fought against some guilds and no downstate that you just run over. There's no chance, and it's not as fun for them. They get the XP, but if they're constantly getting ran over, then it's useless.
Expand a bit on what you're saying, that no downstate is bad for guilds like yours. Like, explain why it's bad for guilds like yours.
Well,
And
But
let me say this before you go on, because I think I know what you're gonna say. But let me say this: I don't like no downstate, but no downstate is good for guilds like mine. Like the way that we chomped during no downstate was ridiculous. So no downstate was amazing for guilds like mine, but I still don't like it. But why don't you tell us exactly why you don't like no downstate?
as a smaller group, it's harder to contend and get your fun in the world versus world, considering big groups that like not necessarily big groups, but decent sized groups that are comped out can just they have fun, not necessarily have fun, but they're getting something out of the no downstate week, getting lots of XP when fighting guilds and getting these bags. But for guilds like us, we're holding on, but against a comped group that's like 10 plus of us, it's not really much we can do, and it's kind of demoralizing as a guild when you're just getting constantly ran over for a whole week and you can't really play the game mode. It's unaccessible when you're fighting groups that you can't contend.
So if it was up to you, and guilds like yours, you would rather not have no downstate week at all into the future. You just don't like it at all in any way, shape, or form.
Later on, maybe as we progress as guilds, but I mean, not just for our guild, but our guild will most likely progress down the road. But what happens for the newer guilds that are the same way we are right now when we're a year from now, and they're getting ran over constantly, and they're getting demoralized. I mean, if no downstate was removed and it was replaced with a new game mode, I don't know what game mode they would come up with, but it would be more something that all different skill levels can partake in. Like double XP, everyone can partake in that. It doesn't hurt anyone. The double XP part is fine for me, but when a guild like that focuses on PPT is getting ran over constantly, and they can't even rally off of downs. It's demoralizing from the way I look at it.
Did you find that your guild's participation rate for that week went down?
Yes, it did.
So people just
Especially
didn't even bother playing.
not to throw shade at you, but our group we couldn't fight you. We would try, but there's only so much you can do against your group, and some people were just not gonna fight you, and that's why we tried to most likely avoid you. But sometimes you have to cross paths in world versus world, so it just
and and
that's
and,
about it.
and here's I'll explain technically why it's beneficial for guilds like mine and why it's not beneficial for yours. And this is probably what a lot of people already know. But when people go into downstate in this game, you have some iframes onto it. When there's no downstate, none of your DPS is essentially wasted into those iframes. You're basically 100% of your damage is getting pumped onto players. And so groups that already damage high or burst high, all that damage is just getting laid thick onto players. Whereas on downstate, some of that damage is getting absorbed by iframes on the downstate players. So it's a bit of a snowball, and in that aspect, I think it hurts guilds that aren't able to, sustain or produce downs consistently on their own because there's no iframes, you know, at all being that are absorbing any of that damage that they're eating, at all in the slightest.
Yeah. So like a group, they can have support, but DPS outweighs support in all ways. Especially when it becomes no downstate. If some group can bomb for 10 of your players instantly, just snap the fingers, 10 players are dead. Your group is gone. Like you're delivering that bomb back, but they're moving off after they bombed your group. So you lost 10 players and you just get dwindled down and it's over. There's just no fighting it. There's no coming back from 10 of your players getting instantly bursted in the first 5 seconds of engagement.
Okay. So as a new guild, you don't want to see any more downstate into the future.
No, no.
What other ideas do you have as far as event weeks or objectives? I know you talked a little bit about objectives. I've spoken about objectives before, but what ideas do you have?
A new map. I don't know. I think they've talked about a new map, but a new map would be great for like new objectives, new events around the map. New siege maybe, something that refreshes the game mode. It's I don't know how you feel about it, but going around and taking. I mean, your group, they're powerful, really good group, built together, play together, comped out. You guys can take almost any force. So, I mean, for you, it's probably fun fighting stronger groups, but it's I don't know how to put it. It gets boring I'm assuming it gets boring for you, like after taking keeps farming bags or whatever, and then
It, it
repeating it over.
it gets dry in the sense that it is the same shit over and over again, but the people that are in our guild and community, they're really fun to hang out with. So I'd say, about 60 to 75% of the time, even when we're rolling, it's just a lot of fucking banter and nonsense. Like, we're just talking and laughing a lot. So I'd say, honestly, like, the game is so fucking old. There's not a lot of new content that majority of the time I'm playing the game because I enjoy pugmanding and commanding. Don't get me wrong, I love it. But also just to spend time with the people that have, joined the guild. They're just a lot of fun to be around, like, all across the board. There's a lot of fucking jokes, a lot of laughs. But content-wise, action-wise, you're right. It does get boring. It does get old at times. But what else am I gonna do?
I mean, that is true, but that's where Inet comes in and puts something like a new map or something new to take over.
So, in your opinion, it's not enough that they're doing alliances. It's not enough just to give more rewards. They need some sub-objectives on each of the maps, or even new maps.
Yes,
Okay.
for the most part.
I would agree with you. I would 100% agree with you. What could ANET do, along that same vein of questioning, what could ANET do to make it easier for guilds like yours, newer guilds, to, build yourselves up and also, allow you guys to manage your guild a little bit better? Is there anything you'd like to see?
Um,
Specifically from a new guild's perspective.
well,
Like what could ANET do to make you guys to help you guys build your new guild to become a strong guild?
well, alliances is gonna help with that a bunch, but
Alliances
like,
will just let's just say for argument's sake, let's just say alliances will only help you find other guilds to play alongside. Alliances are essentially alliances. What could ANET do to help you build a stronger, better, more successful guild?
well,
Because to be fair, and the reason why I ask this, there's not a lot of new guilds in the pipeline. There's not a lot of new commanders in the pipeline. There's not a lot of new pugmanders in the pipeline. There's actually not a lot of new fight guilds in the pipeline. Your guild is probably one of, if not from my knowledge, the newest, World v World guild to come out in the last, 30 to 60 days. And I know you're built out of a previous guild, but there's not a lot of new guilds in the coming up in World v World at all. It's all the old guilds, just taking players, shuffling players, recruiting players. There's not a lot of new guilds.
well, the one thing I think that ANET should look into is exotic armor. People are, for instance, a new guild. People are experimenting with classes. They want to fill in the comp spots that are needed because a small group, a small guild that's forming up and building their guild, yeah, it's very hard for all the roles to be filled instantly, like all support, all DPS, and so I mean, exotic armor that is stat selectable would be good for people that want to learn the new classes and fill in the spots. That would help newer guilds because most of a decent bit of our gold is going into the guild itself right now. Like I know a few of our members have dropped roughly 2,000 gold on the guild. So
Holy shit! To do what?
food, everything. We're stocking up for everything.
I mean, food's understandable, but 2,000 gold worth of food? I don't know. That's a lot of fucking food. You can feed a server for like a year, brother, with 2,000 gold. That's a lot of fucking food, and this is coming from the guild that has 800, 850 of the foods. So,
Yeah,
if you have 2,000, that's a lot of fucking gold and a
one of
lot of
our
fucking food.
one of our guys said that he bought 2,000 gold worth of mystic coins and ectos and mats, etc. for the guild. So I don't know exactly how accurate that is, but that's what he told me. I don't know how much
You know what my
that's
honest opinion is? I know you said it for a new guild, but my honest opinion is they should just give away World v World only exotics or even rare, the yellows, for free for any World v World player. Fuck it at this point, ain't it? Like, fuck it. Just give away the gear for free. You can't sell it, you can't salvage it. Make it so you can only use it in World v World if you really want to, but just give it away so fucking people can experiment with different builds and different stat sets. Like, who gives a shit at this point? Give it the fuck away for free. Rare or exotic, it don't fucking matter. But let people experiment with different builds in World v World. the barrier to entry is too high at this point.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Um, people people find it dreadful that they have to learn the class to begin with, and learning a meta class and mastering it is hard enough, but when you're dumping your time and your gold and you don't know whether or not, well, do I like this class? Am I good at this class? And it's just a pain. If Inet just gave stat selectable exotic or rare armor, it would just take a lot of that um, annoyance and time gapping away from learning a class.
I agree. Make it world v world only. You can't sell it. You can't salvage it.
Just like PvP, they when you load into PvP, you can load it on a level 1 Toon and be fully ready if you get the.
Yeah, I mean, if you find something you love, you want to min max it, you'll build the ascended. But let people, experiment on exotic or even rares. If they don't want to do exotic because they feel it's inappropriate, then at least do rares.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else before I move on?
No, I don't think so.
What would you like to see on your wish list as a commander?
There's a few things actually that I'd like to see. Um, in the commander sense of things, like helping out commanders, I would like to see um, adjustable like commander tags for players. Some players in this game are older, some players in this game are newer, and it's better if they can change the color because I don't know if you find yourself constantly changing the color of your tag, but
No,
some
uh, I'm, uh,
some
I'm
groups
pink or bust, my friend. Pink or
yeah,
bust.
some people find themselves not seeing the tag, so maybe making it an option where they can neon it, make it bigger, and change the code to the color they'd like, so they don't lose the tag. But also on top of that, let me think.
Anything else?
Um, Not necessarily. Oh, Commander pin sniping. There is so much pin sniping when it comes to T4 and Maguma. Um, it's a pain. Getting pin sniped is a pain. It ends the fight almost instantly when Maguma is pulling your commander and or say any other server because I know there's certain guilds dedicated straight to pulling people
True.
and pulling pins and just ending the fight so early. So I mean, maybe making it so commanders are immune to pulls or I don't know actually. Maybe make them immune or give them extra HP to get away from that pool because I find plenty of times that we're in fights and my commander is getting pulled by 3 random people and he's getting mowed and it's just a pain.
So what's the answer? Do you have a suggestion?
Immunity to pools on a commander when they
That's
have
a
their commander
huge.
tag.
That's a big ask, my friend. That's a big ask. But assuming that okay, that's an idea though. But assuming that isn't a reality, any other ideas?
Um, when a commander dies, maybe they can spectate their players. I don't know. When it comes to commanding, it would.
Fiona from EU actually had an interesting idea last week. Initially, I was like, initially I had to boggle my head. I was like, what? This doesn't make sense. But the more I thought about it, it was an interesting idea. So if a commander dies, then and they become a ghost that's tethered around their corpse, like either 1200 or 900 or something like that, and they get no abilities, but they can still continue commanding as like a ghost around their corpse. It's an interesting idea that allows them to somewhat finish the fight without the fight necessarily ending. I never really thought about it, but it's not a bad idea.
That actually sounds like a great idea. That's
I
an
thought it was
idea.
a great idea
Very very
after she
cool.
said it. Like you can't cast anything, you can't do anything to change the tide of battle, but you can still at least continue commanding.
Because when I find that commanders are getting pin sniped, it's maybe you have a backup pin, but it's very hard to transfer the pin and then resume commanding while fighting another group. So that'd actually be a great idea.
Yeah, and she said you can only do it with groups of like commander groups of like 20 or more. So, it's the larger groups that are typically facing pin snipe anyways. Roaming groups you're basically singling down individuals, but larger groups you're getting pin snipe, so you can put a limit on the number of people in the squad. It's an interesting idea she had, and it was a novel one, quite frankly. No one had mentioned anything like that before, but I liked it. It was an idea to solve the pin sniping problem.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Anything else you'd like to see on your wish list as a commander?
Nothing too major. Maybe I don't know, just basic siege. Make it. I don't know. Guild siege is cool. Most guilds have the gold, but maybe siege is a little cheaper, or maybe make a taskbar for the siege for the commander.
A taskbar for the siege. What do you mean?
Like like you know how you have your skills. Maybe
Okay.
make a hotkey for your siege. Like
But isn't that basically what your inventory is? Like if in mine I put it in my shared slots, I just press I, go to my shared slots, drop it down. No.
yeah, that is pretty much all I get. But maybe a commander doesn't have shared slots. Who knows?
Fair enough. No, I mean I'm just saying me. Like there's no right or wrong answer here. So I think that's a very good point. Maybe commander doesn't have shared slots. Absolutely. That's a very good point. Okay. Any other ideas that you have?
Um, I don't think so. Not off the top of my head.
Okay. No, I mean there's once again there's no right or wrong answer. There's no like limit or number that you have to reach. I'm just asking. What about game balance? What are your thoughts there as a new commander, new guild?
Um, Power is very strong these days. Power builds, they hit for a lot. Maybe a balance, like a little bit of a balance there. I'm sure coming to Ender Dragons, there will be a lot of balances, but not really for balancing purposes. I don't know. I like the illusion because it's cool and it picks up your group, which also helps smaller guilds that need help keeping their members tight on pin.
So you
Um,
overall you like the current balance of the game?
the balance is, yeah, I think it's solid right now. Connie
Okay.
definitely, I don't know, Connie's stacked very heavily, but I mean, scrappers, if your scrappers are doing their job, hopefully you shouldn't have a problem with it. You should be good.
Okay. Anything you'd like to see balance wise?
Not right now. No, I haven't seen much that needs balancing, but we're newer around here, and I mean, as a commander for a few months, I haven't really seen anything that needs balancing like immediately.
No, I mean that's a fair answer. It's a fair answer. Like I said, I think it's important to get the perspective of new players and veteran, older, experienced players at the same time. So, I appreciate your perspective as a new player or new commander, newer commander in a new guild. What's your stance on open field ethics? You know, or etiquette, ass jamming, pin sniping. Do you guys
Um,
do it? Do you guys condone it?
right now, I wouldn't say we ass jam, but we'll bring two squads together to make one against a bigger group. But pin sniping, we do none of that. There's no pin sniping in our group. We don't want it done to us, so we expect the same not to happen to us. But you can't hold everyone accountable for their actions on War versus World, especially on the other team. So we we might ass jam once in a while, but pin sniping is definitely a no go for us.
Hmm. I mean, I don't think you guys are the only guild that you know nut hugs another guild, quite frankly. But oftentimes, I think that's just a end result of sometimes being outnumbered by a larger force on the enemy side.
And some groups,
Sometimes not, but oftentimes.
sometimes groups, have been running together for so long, they just can't keep their hand off the other group's ass. But
Exactly. Okay. And what is your we talked about it a little bit in the beginning, but what's your general philosophy as a World v World commander?
Overworld is fun, it's fun to do in your off time. Um, it depends on how you take World versus World. Are you fighting? Are you not? Are you PPTing? How does your guild take World versus World? Our guild is taking it more serious. We want to fight. We want to win. And Some guilds don't want to win. Some guilds just want to PPT. But I mean, World v World is fun. You have to make it fun. You can't just expect to walk in here and it just be your instant taste. But you improve as you go if you want to improve. Some groups they don't want to improve. People in World vs World they don't want to improve, so they're holding themselves back at that point.
I mean, when you say that you're looking to improve, like, how do you guys take losses when you guys are fighting? Like,
Um,
do you guys get pissed? Do you guys get ragey? Do you guys kind of do you debrief certain
yeah.
fights? Do you be like shake it off, move on? Do you make adjustments? I mean, what's your style?
Um, when we tend to lose fights, Stoich,
Do you
he,
join? And I'm gonna say this as a meme, but do you join enemy commander discords and get mad at them?
no, we, interesting fight.
Go ahead, carry on.
We debrief the situation, what happened, what went wrong, and usually the commander and time, either Stoich or me, but we debrief the situation. Was it the commander's fault? Did the commander accidentally overpush the situation? Did the commander do this? Did the commander do that? Was our movement bad? Or you have to really just debrief the situation and come into the fight with a new attitude and don't let it bring you down. Because I know there's some people that run alongside us or run with us sometimes that after a few fights and we're losing, they're leaving the Discord and getting off the game. Like quitting doesn't. Tomorrow we won't wake up better than we were yesterday if you're logging off the game. That's how I look at it. So losing fights, winning fights, both very good for you, but losing those fights is also key to learning. So I feel like at the beginning of a guild, it's good to learn to lose more and learn off what you're doing and improve before you start rage quitting the game.
A good attitude to have. You know why I said the end piece though, right? I'm sure you
Yeah,
heard.
yeah. I heard. I watched the
Stoich.
video.
Oh, I was a little bit surprised myself that that happened. It was definitely amusing, to say the least.
That
But
was him, and I don't know if you guys want to address that between you guys, but yeah.
I'll invite him to the show. Just so the record is clear, I actually invited both Pointy, who is Stoich, and New Toon to get interviewed together, but I think they didn't want to get interviewed together. Correct me if I'm wrong here. You guys one or the other.
Yeah, yeah.
And I
Sure.
had the prior. I spoken to New Toon on prior occasions, so I knew him better than I did Pointy. So I actually invited New Toon instead of Pointy.
I'm sure later down the road, he'd be glad to come on and you guys have a
Uh,
nice long talking and see at
it'll
the end.
definitely be an interesting conversation to say the least. It'll be a respectful one. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
even him joining in was even though it was a little bit surprising. I still think he was able to convey his message in a very respectful manner, or as respectful as you can, throwing down accusations as he did.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to diss on anybody in specific, but spawn camping, in my opinion, it isn't necessarily good for the game, like he said, for the new players. But I can also see where you're coming from. There's a map queue outside their spawn. They're trying to push back to you, but
We can have the
both players.
discussion. We don't have to pussyfoot around. So just so everyone is aware, last week, and I can play the clip. Let me set up the scenario. I'll play the clip, and we can talk about it. And we'll have a discussion, a debate, a conversation. Why not? Like there's no shame in it. Long as we're respectful, we don't have to have the same opinion. We can have a difference of opinions. But let me set the stage. I'll play the clip, and we'll talk about it. And neither of us has to hold back. There's no right or wrong. We're both entitled to our opinions, but long as we can talk about it respectfully, let's have the debate, discussion. Fuck it. So last week we were in tier 4. We were fighting, New Toon server, Dragon Brand. Um, I pugmanded one day when we were about 4 points. You guys were about 4 points behind us, and I think you were winning that skirmish. I came home from work and I tagged up and I started commanding. I commanded for a little bit. I tagged down. Tiff took over. Tiff commanded for a little bit. And in that time that Tiff commanded, she took all of Red's corner. I'll open up the map so everyone can see. We were fighting red. Tiff took all of red's corner. I believe we were green. She took all of red's corner. She took SMC, and then she tiered three it. She tiered three'd everything. You know, they ran yaks, whatever, blah blah blah. And they tiered through it. I logged back in after my break. You know, 2 or 3 hours after Tiff took over, and then I tagged back up again. So between Tiff and I, we probably pugmanted about probably a good 6 to 8 hours between the two of us in you know, consecutively. And then when I took back over, it was VIP. Correct me if I'm wrong in any of this, new Toon. I don't want to misstate anything. It was VIP, and it was FTL.
Yep.
Between the two of you, you guys had about a map queue.
Yep.
I had about maybe 30 players, would you say? 30, 35 players? I know I had 30 in my squad. Our map was not queued, but we probably had about 5 to 10, maybe 15 green names. So all in, we had about my 30 players plus the 10 green names. We're probably at probably 40. And the red side was, you know, map queued, which on EBG is around 75 to 80 is the best estimates. And basically they were trying to break out and take their keep, their Veloka. They hit Mendens. They were really just trying to break out and hit something. You know, everywhere they went, I just basically went and I wiped it. You know, Veloka, Pangloss, the keep, Mendens, Speldens. It really didn't matter. I think they tried SMC a couple times. Wherever they went, I just went with my force, and I just, you know, I basically wiped it. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Did I miss anything?
Nope.
All right, so I'm going to now play the clip, and then let's have a little debate. So, after a certain point, Stoich, who was commanding for FTL, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
Joined our Discord, and this is what he said. Super. So this is the last fight.
Stay to the right, stay to the right, stay to the right.
34 to 3, 2, 1, super speed. I'm linking the clip too. So this is Deutsch.
Listen to me right now. You're destroying WvW.
Okay.
Shame on you.
If you want to keep on going like that, then just have to ally the WvW community against you. Is that what you want?
Wait, who is this talking first?
And you know who it is. You have me followed and all that. You're driving players out of WvW on a daily basis. And you're hurting the game mode for all of us.
Wait, hold on a second. How am I hurting the game mode?
You're driving players out of the game mode.
Because because of what though?
Because you're farming new and casual players that are not they're not your competition. This
but
is not a competitive fight.
Hold on, I only have 30
you're
players.
You're spawn farming players that together 10 players have played this game less than you have played over the last 2 years. That's who you're farming right now. You're spawn farming.
So what should I do then?
In a decided match in T4, you're spending your time spawn farming new players, casual players, those players that you want in the game mode. You constantly talk about we need new players into the game modes, and what you're doing is you're driving them away. Why?
So what should I do exactly? I still don't understand what you want me to do.
Fight. Go fight those that are at your level.
And who is that?
Players develop.
Yeah, who's that
What should I do right now though? Is my question. You guys are the only group out, so I'm fighting you.
You've been on for 5 hours. What do you mean?
Yeah, yes, but you're the only group out, so I'm fighting you. What exactly is it that you want me to do?
Seriously?
His mom.
Is there another group out? I mean, there isn't another group out.
Leave red side and let's go beat up Mag together.
So my other question is this. So what was your first comment? You said if you don't do this, I'm gonna do. What was the threat exactly?
All I'm saying is you're hurting the game mode so much at this point.
Okay.
That the rest of the community has no choice but to work against you.
In total, the entire community should be working against me.
Yeah.
I'm down. How do we make that a reality?
Really? You're down for
I'm
that?
100% down. I would love that. It
Alright.
would be great. It would be a
feel
great
like that's
challenge.
already happening.
It would be a great challenge for me, and I hope that you guys take it in a positive light, as I will. I will not take it negatively if you guys all want to rally
No,
against me.
this is nothing positive about it. This is negative all
All right, so
around.
I'll take it positively. You
gameplay
guys
is
can think about it negatively.
No,
But I'm down for that.
You can
I'm down
spin
for
it how
that.
you want, man. You can spin it how you want.
No, I'm down for that though. Like let's make this a reality.
Listen, to me, I got no problem with you. I have problem.
I have no problem with you either. But go
with
ahead.
What you do. That's all.
What is it that I do though? I'm playing the game. I don't understand.
Well, okay. I mean, that's fine.
All right, just so it's clear, like, and so you don't think that there's any like negativity here. I'm trying to get out of tier 4. You
That's
are
fine,
the
you're out of
closest.
tier
You're
4.
the closest to getting out of tier 4 versus us. You're the only force out. What exactly is it that you're thinking that I'm doing that's negative? I'm playing the game. You're the only force out there, and you're the close. You're the only force out there, and you're the closest to going to tier 3 before us.
You're playing it. You're playing it right now as if you haven't played the game for 9 years and you don't know all of these things. You know that this match is over already.
It's
you know
not.
that very well. Of
You
course it
realize
is.
last night you guys were four fucking things behind us. 4 points
but
behind
right
us.
Now it's what, 15, and you know.
Yeah,
that
but you guys
when
could make it
NA
up.
prime time comes around, you're gonna win skirmishes. You know
That's
that
not true. That's not true. I may lose skirmishes. You never know. I'm not undefeatable.
Look, I know that you're intelligent enough that you're playing dumb right now. That's fine.
I'm being sincere to you, my friend. But listen, all that aside, I'm down for the threat. I want you to unite the
It's
entire
not a
World Reward
threat.
community against me. The promise,
It's not
then.
a threat. It's
Then
just
the promise. Then the promise.
promise.
I want
That's
you to I want you
really
to
what
I
you
want you to I want you to unite the entire World Reward community against me. I'm down, 100%. Let's make it a reality.
You do realize how ridiculous you sound right now, right? Because
I didn't
you've
realize
been in
it-
this
Sounds
game
ridiculous.
for 9 years, and you have some sort of responsibility for the well-being of WvW because you have been here.
All
and
right,
you
all right,
have
all
been
right.
one of
Here's the deal.
biggest consumers of it.
Here's the flip side of it. How about this? I'll move my alt to your server, and I'll command your entire force against these guys right now. How about that?
Do
you want me to do that?
What's the point to that?
Do you want me to do that?
Why?
So that way I can whatever it is that your worry is, I will train your troops to be good. I will command your entire guilds, all of it, against DR. You want me to do that? Since apparently it's my responsibility to fucking train the entire universe and fight from both sides, I will
No,
fucking
no, you're
I will fight.
responsible.
I will lead your troops against my troops on this side. All right?
Why? So you can grow your ego even more? That doesn't change.
How does that grow my ego? How does that grow my ego? I don't understand. You just asked for my help. You said it's your responsibility, so I'm willing to train your troops. I'm willing to train your troops to be better to beat these guys.
I'm
How about
not
that?
asking for your help, and I'm not asking
So then,
you
so
to train my
what
troops.
exactly are you asking me to do then? You don't want me to play the game. You don't want me to
No.
help your troops.
Play the
You just
game.
want me to like what? Fucking run in a circle in a puddle? Like what exactly are you asking me to do? I'm so confused right now.
Play the game. Nobody's
All right, so
telling
that's
you
what
don't
I
play
that's
the
what I
game.
thought I was doing up to now was playing the game.
All right, got it. Simple.
But wait, hold on. Before you go, please unite everyone out there against me. I would love that. And I will not take it negatively. I will not take it personally. I will take it as a challenge.
All right, got it. You
All
have a
right.
good one.
Also, thank you for the fights.
Oh,
Oh my
jeez.
gosh.
I don't even fucking understand what the fuck.
Who is that crazy motherfucker? Where did he come from?
So it was an interesting day. It was an entertaining little surprise, I suppose. But go ahead. Now, I mean, you could take whatever position you had before about the spawn camping.
Okay, well. your
And let me
place-
just say this: I don't have anything against Deutsch. I think even though he came into an opposing team's Discord without really being invited and he kind of just went off, I still think, even though he did kind of say you're being ridiculous, and I think that was probably the worst thing he said. I still think that he was pretty respectful in getting his point across. So I still have nothing against Deutsch. I don't think anything poorly or negatively against him. Could he have maybe done a little bit better? Sure, but I was being a little bit cheeky too.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, after getting spawn camped over and over, I mean, like you said, you don't have anything wrong with spawn camping. I mean, spawn camping, in my opinion, is toxic. It is toxic. Maguma does it. It's kind of toxic, but I mean, you play the game how you want to play it, but some people don't have to respect it. And I mean, I guess it gets frustrating getting spawn camped by a group that it's already a challenge to beat to begin with Siege, with our own objectives, and
But
you
let
know,
me ask you this along that same vein. So, and to be fair, right, you guys didn't always use all three exits. You guys mainly used the main exit, and every time you went somewhere, whether it was to Mendens or went to Veloka, you always exited the main exit. Not once did you guys ever use any of the back exits. Just to be fair and to be straight, you always came out from the main exit. Whether you went to Mendens, you went this way. Went to Veloka, you went this way, or you hit the keep, or even when you went to Pangloss, you went this way. Not once did you use any of the back exits. But also, that being said, I mean, what was the purpose that you guys had as your map log with you and VP? Was your purpose to take shit back on EBG? Or was
yes.
your purpose to PPT? Because if your purpose was to PPT, you could have gone to another map and taken everything.
No, no, no. Our purpose was to push back the group on green and get our stuff back, but
So I
I
mean,
mean,
but if that's your first, and sorry, no, you finish first. I don't want to interrupt. Go ahead.
no, 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 it's all good.
No, no, please finish your thought.
Well, we were trying to retake everything back, and it's demoralizing for not only our small group, but I mean, I don't know how VIP feels when you're wiping them back to back to back to back because I mean, Stoich, we're smaller than you. We're smaller than VIP, so I mean, if our group is taking it to like more toward the heart, I don't know, I don't know what's going on in their uh, their heads, but I would be kind of frustrated. I mean, I don't ever think it's alright to go into another commander's Discord server while they're in the middle of the raid and start flaming them. But I mean, Storch did it respectfully. He didn't really flame. He just he got his point across as respectful as possible, but with some anger.
Yeah, I mean,
He was
I,
frustrated at
I,
the time, but
I sense his frustration, but the point that what I was going to try to make is, what did you expect me to do? Like, did you expect me to just give you the stuff?
no, no, I know
Did
exactly.
you? And what I said in that video was accurate. You guys were literally the only force out. There was nothing else to fight, and my entire focus was to make sure that we got out of tier 4, not you guys. So it wasn't personal at all in the slightest. It was purely objective based, trying to get out of tier 4. You guys were the next highest to get out of tier 4. But I'm
Yep.
not sure what he expected me to do. Did you want me to just give you the stuff? I mean, I don't know. What is the answer?
Man, in your situation, I mean, fighting us is you're definitely in the right when it comes to fighting us like that. I don't see anything wrong with it, but I mean, it's hard for us to take that back. On top of that, I mean, the group that we're fighting doesn't win comps, or the
Yeah,
group
but
fighting alongside.
what do you want me to do about that as the enemy commander? Like, I understand that he was frustrated. I understand he came to my Discord to vent that frustration. And once again, I have nothing at all. Like, even after that, I have nothing at all negative to say about the guy. Yeah, quite frankly, I was amused. It was a cheeky interaction. I was being a little, cheeky myself, a little sassy myself, but I don't have anything bad to say about him even after that. And I, quite frankly, I still respect the fact that you and him are trying to build something on DB to make it competitive. So you have my respect for that. Every commander has my respect anyways, but just from what you're trying to build, you have my respect from that alone. So, but my answer, my question still stands. What did you expect me to do? What do you expect me to do? What do you expect any commander to do that's in my position?
I mean, I'm gonna keep it real. We both know that you know, from both sides. If our side was winning that fight, we would have most likely done the same thing. I'm gonna keep it real. Hypocritically standing, most people would have done the same exact thing. They would have camped the area, and I mean, no, you're not gonna give it to us for free, but when we tried over and over, we knew that it wasn't gonna happen. So I guess his anger had built up, and I mean, I would keep. I would have I would have done the same thing you did. I would have fought the map ball right outside my spawn that I know I can wipe consistently with very few losses.
But even if I couldn't wipe it consistently, it's still the only fight out. To be fair.
I mean, you're a fight commander. You're looking for fights, so I mean, fighting it is fair. I mean, there's no unfair fights there. We had you outnumbered. We couldn't do it. So I mean, you're in no part in the wrong. But the spawn camping is a little. I mean, it's hard to put it because you want to get out of spawn, but we can't fight. We can't beat you in a fight, so we have to just take the loss and just wait till you're gone.
So what's the answer?
I mean, for most people, get off the game. Quit for the time you're on the game, and then because the perspective most people have is when you're not getting your content or when you're not fighting anybody. Just like when we're not fighting anybody, it's not that fun running around PPTing in our books. So I mean,
So shelve that for a
yeah.
second. Logging off the game. Shelve that for a second, alright? But in your opinion, if Anet came to you and was like, hey, what's the answer to stop spawn camping or that type of situation where it allows you guys to break out? What's the answer? What would you like to see mechanically in the game to allow a different result out of what happened? Where you have the larger force, clearly, but you just can't make any progress on the map. What's the answer then? What would you like to see Anet do, if anything?
I don't see that this is an ANET problem. I feel like this is the server problem, because if we were a comp server that worked together as a group, because I mean, like I said, VIP and us, we don't really see eye to eye. So fighting alongside them is cool, but we don't always get in the right. And I mean, it's nothing to do with ANA. When a group is getting spawn camped like that, and they have it would be different if you were like 65 to our 35 combined groups, but it's the other way around. So I mean, you're fighting what you can fight. I mean, if I was in the same position and my group could fight a group like yours and or like the one we had, and it was big, and I mean, we know we can take it on fairly equally. I would have done the same thing, and there's nothing to stop it. I mean, you can wait till the commander gets bored of sitting there and waiting for you to come out when you're not coming out, which we eventually did. And I mean, there's not much you can do there, but you can port to another map. That's why there's 5 Borderlands. So, I mean,
4, but yeah.
including even 2. Oh, actually.
Yeah, 4. But yeah, I mean, I would have figured, right? Like, to be fair, after like the fourth or fifth wipe, you guys would have just hopped maps because I wasn't gonna. I'm more than likely not gonna chase. Right now, to be honest, especially if you went to Blue's map because I just didn't care about Blue, and I think that's what VIP ended up doing in the end is they went to Blue's map. I was purely focused on Red because Red was right behind us to get out of Tier 4. But I mean, that is also an option too, right? Instead of not playing the game, you just go to a different map,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But what about this? What if it's reversed in the sense there's 35 players trying to break out against 65? Is there, at that point, anything that you think ANET should do to help the team break out? Or is it just, go to another map again? Is that the answer? Would
I
you
mean,
like to see anything, or are there any ideas that you have? Or do you think ANET could do anything to help a smaller force break out against a larger force?
I can't
And
see
and, and with the
ideas.
caveat, sorry to interrupt you, I apologize. With the caveat that you can know the numbers on the map, ANET can measure the numbers on the map. So if there's objectively a smaller force trying to break out against a larger force, is there anything you think ANET could do?
Well, I mean, the game mode is, you need to get your people. I mean, you're a full servers. When it comes to ANET, the response I think ANET would give to any player that would complain about, not being able to take their stuff back off the spawn, would be get the players. You're equally paired with a server that has relatively even numbers as you. There may not be a presence of those players. They may be a dead server, for instance, or they may be a really populated server, but at that point, there's not much ANET I don't think they could do in support and helping out a smaller force that can't leave their spawn, considering there's a bigger group spawn camping them. I mean, it's out of etiquette not to spawn camp, but I mean, no commander, like you said, is gonna just let someone walk up and take their ship back. I wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it. Most commanders aren't doing it. So
There's
True.
no one's gonna just give it away. Everyone's gonna defend. I do think that, you know, if you can objectively measure, and ANET can, the number of people on the map, there's potential to have a breakout event, you know, for a smaller force against a larger force. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what ANET could do there. It'd take a lot of thought from ANET and the players, but most groups don't find themselves sitting in the predicament where they're getting spawn camped like that. But I mean, for the small that they're for the small servers or the forces that find themselves they're like being spawn camped. I mean, there's not much they can do.
I mean, if you allow yourself to get spawn cam, you know, you allow yourself to get spawn cam. But you know how you were saying, like, you have the players? I mean, to be fair with you, even if I wanted to summon more players at that time zone that I was fighting you guys, I couldn't. The most amount of players, and I have one of the largest World v World, no, not one of, I have the largest World v World Discord in the game currently, from both EU and in any region. I have the largest World v World Discord, bar none. My Discord is probably larger than like half the NA servers put together. But that being said, at that time that I was formed up, I could not summon more than 30 players. There were just no players available for me to summon. I had to fight your map blob with those 30 players. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You know, it just so happened that my 30 was able to consistently beat your 65, but I'm sure there are times where the 35 cannot beat the 65, and you know you can't summon players out of a rock. Do you
Yeah.
think ANET should do something?
I mean, breakout events, like you said. I mean, the breakout event that we currently have in place is a fucking NPC commander that does bullshit. So I mean, you know, I'm sure if someone sat down and put enough thought into it, we could develop an idea to change that. But right now, I don't see it being changed anytime soon, or I don't have any ideas on how you would be able to change that effectively to help the smaller folks.
No, I mean that's fair. I mean you don't you know, we're just here to have a discussion. We may have the answer, we may not. You know, there's no right or wrong. We're just sharing our opinions and our thoughts. But you think it's worth thinking about. You think that ANET should spend a little bit of time maybe thinking about it. Or
Yeah,
the flip
maybe.
side of it is you could say that, you know, maybe alliances is going to fix it with better
Maybe.
population balance.
Better population balance, like you said. Some servers, you know, the servers that like right now are idling or are dropping tiers and are inactive as fuck. And the players that are on those servers that are stuck there that want to fight, but you know you're helpless. So, I mean, hopefully Alliances deals with it. But if it doesn't, then ANET's definitely gonna have to look into something in the future, probably.
Okay. And as a new commander for a newer guild, you'd like to see something like that if possible.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
Just in case the predicament, you know, your group can't fight that, won't be able to fight that for a long time. So, I mean, your progress is hindered unless you switch border rules.
I personally think it's a good idea to have structures change hands more. You know, I wouldn't be opposed personally to, if you're holding an enemy keep in their territory, the longer you hold it, the weaker it gets. Just, you know, make it eventually so that if you hold it after X number of hours, there's the fucking walls start deteriorating, the fucking
Yeah.
gates start opening up, the guards start lessening out, you know, and eventually maybe the Lord is dead and you just have to fucking defend a circle.
There and,
Alternatively, another idea you could have is each side has a set number of guards on the map. All right? And then as you expand the territory into the enemy corner, the number of guards that you have gets spread out. So if you own too much territory, some structures are just undefended because there's not enough guards to go around, or maybe it has one guard. You know, there's X number of lords, you have X number of, you know, scouts, X number of archers, X number of cabalists, and they just get spread out. And then as you take more territory, more keeps and structures and towers and camps, you know, it just spreads out your force. Whereas if you just have one thing remaining, all the fucking guards on the map are concentrated on that one thing. So it works both ways. For teams that expand too much and have too much territory, there's not enough guards left. But for teams that just get backed into a corner, they have all their fucking guards just, you know, massed into one fucking structure.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a fair idea. That probably the more productive idea for mainnet if that were to come to light.
And I think that idea would be a great balancer to allow, you know, servers and classes and players to have some semblance of a little bit of balance to kind of offset, you know, just the non-stop just eating up of structures.
Yeah, I agree.
That's just an idea I thought of. But
Yeah, no, those ideas are great. I feel like if mainnet implemented the guard idea, it would be more fair because it'd be harder to hold on to maybe objectives of your own and maybe objectives of the ones that you've taken. So, for instance, you took red keep and you green, so your guard
yeah, I
needs
mean,
to be
and once you've gone so far into the enemy territory, maybe there's some structures that don't have fucking keep lords at all. So then you don't actually have to sit there and kill a keep lord. You just got to break in. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Or like if you're in an enemy territory and you don't have the camps, then you're not maintaining your walls. There's already a natural decay. Let's call it decay on the on the keeps on the keep walls and the gates and all that shit. So if you're not running in consistent yaks on an enemy keep or enemy tower, then there's decay and the decay kicks in. So eventually the gates and walls naturally get broken down, and if you add in the guard aspect to it, then there's less guards as well.
yeah. I think that's awesome. That'd be
You
a
know what I mean?
great.
It kind of allows a little bit of diversity in the gameplay, allows protection on the offensive side and the defensive side, and I think that could be a little bit of a natural, balancer.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about the spawn camping incident? I think we're both on the same page, to be honest with you. But I'll
It's
give you the floor if there's anything more you want to say about it. I don't want you to feel like you came on and you were steamrolled into my position or opinion.
I don't know. It's a cheeky move, spawn camping, but I mean, it's gonna be there. It's just gamers etiquette. Am I gonna spawn camp this force? If they're smaller than me, no. But if they're bigger than me, maybe. It just depends on the situation, and not a lot of people like spawn camping, but if you're getting the bags and you're getting everything, from your perspective, why not? Stop the bigger force from retaking what we've worked so hard to tier up, and we're moving to tier 3, so it's respectable that we defend it.
Okay. I mean, I'll give you the last word on it, quite frankly. If there's anything you do want to say about it, I'll give you the last word.
It's all good. There's no fallout between the two guilds. I mean, Stoich, he was frustrated at the time, and I mean, there's no bad blood. I mean, and it
Yeah, there's no
happens.
bad blood. I have nothing against your guild. Like I said, I have nothing against you. I have nothing against Deutsch. I actually, in fact, I wish you guys nothing but success, and I hope you guys, you know, accomplish what you've set out to achieve.
Yeah, we're striving for it, and I mean, what we did, what we joined when he joined the Discord, it probably wasn't right, the exactly right way to handle situation, but it happened, and we'll have to move past it. But I mean, your experience in World vs. World is great, and I mean, you're a valuable member of the community when it comes to command.
I appreciate that, but I think, my opinion is, you know, quite frankly, every commander is at this point every commander is a valuable member because we're fucking commodities right now. We're rare, dying fucking breeds.
I got a question.
There's not many commanders left.
Yeah, I got a question for you, if you don't mind
Yeah,
answering.
yeah, yeah, go for it.
Is there any tips that you have to grow a small good? I know you said you did grow Order of Pugs from 2020 COVID restrictions, and how did you grow your group to become so interactive to each other and to get on the same page of skill?
I think a lot of it, to be honest. So when I first came back to the game, I quit gaming altogether in October 20, end of September, beginning of October 2019. I had actually quit gaming. I was the guild leader of a guild called Tempest Wolves. I quit gaming. I quit the guild to what was going to be my first international hotel. I was going to build my first international hotel. Um, and I actually just started that project, and I spent all my time into that project. Unfortunately, due to COVID-19, my project, died on the table. It fell apart. It simply was not feasible. So the project died out. I came back, came back home, and I started gaming again around end of February 2020, March 2020. Around that same time, Tiff came back to the game. She was in TW with me, and we were just like, hey, I'm fucking COVID quarantine. Half my fucking hotels in the U.S. are shutting down. I ain't got dick to do. I'm thinking about getting back into gaming. So I just honestly got back into just to pugman a lot, and that's all I did. I started out on FA for a little bit. I played FA because we were on the link to FA, and on FA had a healthy community back then, quite frankly, and people joined. But then I was like, you know what? I think it would be nice to go to a more dead server. I think anyone that knows me knows it's a historical trend. I always go to a dead server to try to bring it up and see what I can do with it. So we moved off the FA link to SBI. And FA, I rallied larger force. Like FA, I used to rally 30, 40. People knew me there. They had the ongoing pugmanning community with like Nova and Jay, and they had a bunch back then actually. Nowadays they don't have any, but back then they had a fuckload of pugmanders. So it's really easy. On FA, I would rally like 30, 40 players. I moved to SBI. For the first month, I'd rally like, I shit you not, even me being me, I rallied like 15 players in comms, bro. 15 players in fucking comms. I rallied for a good fucking month on SBI. But I didn't let it discourage me. Whether I had 15, whether I had 20, 25, I kept pugmanding day after day after day after day after day. And we have our own Discord, back then, like we do now, and we just invited everybody to join the Discord. And the people that just started playing with me on the regular, pugmanded with me on the regular, they just, joined the guild. We had a pug guild, TPW, which is now OP. We changed the name, and I can explain why we changed the name, but we had a pug guild then, we have a pug guild now, and we just basically, anyone that wants to play, have a casual yet somewhat competitive balance, we just invited to the guild. There's no requirement to join. There's no experience level requirement to join. There's really only two requirements: play meta and be in comms. Other than that, I don't care if you're a good player, new player, old player, experienced player, veteran player. I just don't care. I believe everyone is trainable, everyone can improve, but so I just pugmanted every day with Tiff. Tiff pugmanted, I pugmanted, and we just, day by day, slowly, slowly. After month 2.5, maybe 3, around close to end of spring, I'd say. So we were like March, April, around Mayish. I started rallying on SBI like 40-ish players. By summertime, I was rallying map queues. Um, and then, after a certain point, SBI became very popular and went from a medium server, what was a medium server when we first moved to it, to a full server. And then along the way, we picked up a fuckload of players into OP, or what was TPW. But along the way, the link servers now we started playing with, a lot of those players were not able to come and play with us. They had to just keep link hopping. So we decided, you know what, it's time to leave SBI because SBI went perma full and no one can join us. And, as a pug guild, we like to welcome anybody, like regardless of skill level. We don't like to turn anyone away. Everyone's welcome to come play with us. So, we were kind of like, all right, now we got to make a decision. What server should we move to? SBI is perma full. No one can come join us. No one can come play with us. So we then moved to, we decided, all right, let's find the deadest server out there. And no one can deny this, no one can argue it. The deadest of the deadest of the deadest of the deadest servers out there was DR. DR had maybe like fucking 20 players to its name. It had literally fucking nobody on it when we moved to it. And we just made it our home. We moved in, made it our home, and we just kept building. And along the way, people that want to play with us, have fun, they join us. People don't, they don't have to. There's really, we don't do any recruiting. We just kind of get out there and build it day by day. But honestly, I'd say what I've done is easily replicated. Well, not, let me rephrase. Maybe not easily replicated, but it's can be replicated by any commander out there that wants to A, pugmand on the regular, and B, wants to build a community out of it. If you're willing to do those two things, you could replicate what I've done. Easy peasy.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome what you've got going here. I know
It
I did
takes
see your
time. It takes time. Trust me, it was hard during the SBI days initially, where I had like people didn't know me. It was like kind of they didn't really have a desire to join comms or want to join comms, but you stick at it day by day by day, and people, as long as you're results orientated, you know how to have a good time. You can help people, train people. People will join you. There's plenty of people out there looking for competent, you know, commanders to follow. Long as they're able to keep that balance, I suppose.
yeah. I mean, what you have going is amazing. I did see your speech from Tempest Wolves. I mean, that was pretty awesome when you were on SOR.
That speech is a meme now, but that speech, no bullshit, and no one can deny this. That speech carried fucking SOR for a year past its fucking due date. Like that, SOR was the smallest server in tier one against BG and JQ. We had fucking probably half the population, you know, if that. But we stayed in tier one forever and a day because we had a strong fucking community. So the speech is a meme today, but that speech carried the fuck out of SOR back then. Like that thing was the catalyst to creating just a fucking a never give up attitude across the entire fucking server. And I would argue, and you ask anyone that played on SOR during those days, those were glory days for those of us that played on SOR back in GW2. Like it was so much fun to play on SOR back then. The community was so fucking tight. There was such camaraderie, loyalty, fights galore as the outnumbered server against BG JQ on the fucking daily, bro. Map to map to map to map. It didn't fucking matter where you were. There were just blobs upon blobs upon blobs to fight all day, every day. But it was spectacular. It was spectacular.
Yeah, I did see it. It was amazing. I mean, you drove your you drove your server that was outnumbered to great success for as long as you could hold it up and as long as the community could hold it up together as a group. But I mean, I'm sure it did fall since you did move on. But
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
I think it broke apart more due to seasons than anything else. If I gotta be honest, I think if they didn't introduce seasons, which produced that you before it was like that stubborn attitude, like we're not fucking going anywhere. You can't kick us out of T1. That type of mentality you can carry on. That type of atmosphere you can carry on. Like we're not going anywhere. When we need to turn on the heat, we can turn on the heat. We were able to be fucking stubborn, dig our fucking heels in, and trench into fucking T1, build a motherfucking Elo wall. You can't kick SOR out of the fucking T1 as hard as you tried. But when they introduced servers where that wasn't a reality, it was like, all right, now there's a clear winner, a clear loser, and coverage dictates all. It's not just who can fight the hardest when they're on, because due to elo, and the wins count as 3 points, the second place count as two, the losses count as one, and then the coverage dictates who wins. Once season started and that was the attitude ANET took, it destroyed the culture in the server, quite frankly. And then that put the fucking nail in the coffin for SOR, because at that point all that mattered was coverage, nothing else mattered.
yeah, I mean, it looked good. I mean, like you said, I mean, I did move over to Dragon or Divana's Rest on my temporary break from Dragon Brand to see what you actually had going on. I ran with you a few times, but I had gotten really busy in real life stuff, so I took another break and switched back to Dragon Brand, and that's when I was introduced to the idea of the fight guild that we're building right now, and you know, we're going to push it to the max and see what we can accomplish with like you did with your guild Order of Pug.
I think it's a great idea. I wish you guys the best of luck. I think as long as you and Stoich don't give up, you'll grow it. I have no doubt in my mind. I think as long as you two keep positive attitudes, you have a very objective based approach to your guild and what you're looking to accomplish, then I don't think it's a matter of if, it's simply a
Keep up the
matter
good work,
of
brother.
when. So, don't give up. Do not give up. it's so easy to get discouraged in this game. It's so easy to give up in this game. Do not fucking give up. Don't listen to the fucking haters. There's gonna be plenty of motherfucking haters in this game. Do not let it phase you. It's part and parcel of this game. You will never make everyone happy. There'll always be a larger percentage of this game that dislikes you rather than likes you, and that's a fact. The quicker you acknowledge that and also accept there's nothing you can do or say about it, and you shouldn't give a fuck, the more you can focus on yourself as a commander and your guild. You shouldn't give a rat's fucking ass what anyone outside of your community thinks. Be respectful to everybody. Be respectful to everybody, but their opinions shouldn't impact your gameplay or the decisions you make. And unfortunately, there's not enough commanders and guilds out there that are able to take that mentality or approach, and they let what other opinions of them are, kind of affect them to the point where it encroaches and has a negative impact on their own guild and ability.
I mean, I can speak for both me and Stoich here. We both been playing internet video games for a long time, and I mean, our thick skin is built over time, and we're gonna be goal driven when it comes to building this guild, and I don't think we're gonna be giving up. We're gonna push for the max, even though Dragon Brand might not be the best server to start a guild like we have right now, but I mean, it'll come together slowly but surely, and
I mean, you definitely have your work cut out on your Dragon Band. I think, and let me be completely blunt. I think if you were to do what you did on another server that is pug heavy, guild light, you could probably accomplish your goals in a much quicker manner. But if time isn't of the essence for you, you can accomplish it on DB. I have no doubt. It's just going to take you 2 or 3 times as long. One thing that, and this is part of my calculation, even in the beginning of the game, when I first started the game, I started the game on JQ. JQ was the number one server, number one server, number one server. I was on JQ for like 11 straight weeks. JQ was number one, number one, number one, number one, number one. I get bored. So at week 12, I think it was 3 months into the game, I moved off JQ to SOR, which was the number 14 server at the time. And we built, I can't take full credit, with the other guilds on the server, we built up SOR to become a tier 1 server from number 14. And there was a lot of fucking losses along the way. There was a lot of fucking, frustrations along the way. When you just don't have, coverage or a lot of guilds, you're almost forced to work, in a different manner. But SOR was very pug heavy, guild light. Even when we moved to, SBI, it was very pug heavy, guild light. Even DR was pug light, guild light. DR was a fucking graveyard. But historically, when we moved to Caning back in the day, it was pug heavy, guild light. And if you actually look at it, this is the first time I'm saying it, but if you actually look at the trends to the servers that I moved to, they're always pug heavy, guild light. I like to just do things without other guilds alongside of me. I like to either win or lose with just myself and my force, whether it's a pug force, a guild force, a hybrid force, whatever it is. I'm not a big fan of working together on maps with other guilds. I just don't like it. At that point, my mentality is I'll either manage it on my own as a sole commander on the map, right? Or I won't. I don't like to share the map, and it's not really I don't look at it as a selfish thing. I kind of look at it as a challenge, right? If I need the full map to do it, then I'll just fucking pugman. If I'm gonna be a guild group out there, and lately we've been doing private raids for like the last month. We haven't, during NA especially. Anytime you've seen us for the last month, it's basically almost been guild only, and we run anywhere between 25 to on resets 50 players. On resets we're definitely 50-50. But I'll either do what I need to do on the map with what I got, and that's it, or I won't. I don't not hug. I don't. I don't do any of that. Like I'll, and if I feel like I need to, and it hasn't happened in the last month, but if I feel like numbers are the thing, then I'll go from private to public, but I'll still be the one commanding, right? I'm not interested in seeing what I can accomplish with X, Y, or Z on the map with me. I'm interested in what I can accomplish with just me on the map, and that's just my mentality. And I think anyone that's fought against me or with me kind of probably can see it, but I'm stating it as a fact now, like very explicitly. That's how I approach things.
I mean, yeah, that's a great point. I mean, once again, I'm gonna refer back to guilds on Dragon Brand. Today, I actually got kicked from the VIP public World vs. World Discord server, and the owner had messaged me and said that we were taking up the map for EVG. And I mean, if we're looking at it statistically here, VIP runs 50 to 70 players on a map, just the one group, you know, depending on times, especially during double XP. They were complaining about us queuing up their EBG, and they were like super annoyed for some reason, but we just kept going with our stuff, and they got really upset, so they kicked us from their Discord server, da 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 da. But I mean, we're trying to prove ourselves and see what we can do as a team, as a group. You know, we're not trying to nut hug another group, and want to see what we can get, what we can accomplish as a group. And I don't think they want us to. They don't want to see us do that.
I mean, let's be honest here. VIP, with all due respect to VIP, you know, I say this. I'm sure VIP has really really nice people in it. I'm sure the general membership of VIP has good people, sincere people, honest people, you know, compassionate people, just normal, you know, people like you and I. The leadership of VIP sucks balls. The leadership in VIP is probably one of the worst leadership, you know, group that I've ever come across in a game or IRL. And VIP's lack of success and explicitly their failures is due to their incompetent leadership. And I'm just saying it straight up. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, VIP has the numbers, VIP has the consistency, and VIP has, you know, basically the server strength to become a power fucking house if they had even an iota of good leadership. There's no reason a group that forms up 50-50 of large swaths of the entire fucking day with that many, you know, players consistently should have such poor fucking performance. And in my opinion, it's completely due to a lack of leadership.
I mean, what comes in with that is Stoich, Pointy Dexter, as you know, he was pushing for a static group, and he was training them constantly, week by week. Every Monday, they had trainings, 3-hour classes on all these different classes to try and help them get better. And you know, I'm not gonna say that he was necessarily rude to them, but I mean, he's not gonna sugarcoat, and neither will I when it comes to simple mistakes that can be improved if you want them to improve. And the leader didn't necessarily like the way that well, I wouldn't say the leader, the people didn't like the way that they were getting, I don't know, rustled. I mean, I don't know. He's one of the more strict commanders, and I don't think they like that. So it just didn't work out. I mean, they
Well,
were like, you gotta stop. You know, we
you
can't be having you hurt our player base. You know, they're not liking the
so
way you're
listen.
treating them.
Here's the bottom line, and it's their own poor decision making that leads to this. There's not enough fucking competent, good, you know, friendly, enjoyable, like competitive commanders left in this game. There's none coming up in the system. Zero. Zilch, nada, bumpkiss. All right. I have yet to see one come up in the system or coming up in the system in the last 6 months. All right. If your server has anything close to an individual or a group of individuals who's willing to put in the time and the effort to pugman, that is fucking huge right now. All right, it's fucking huge because it's effort and sometimes work to pugman. So if you have a commander who's willing to put in the time and effort, I think you should support them. No commander is perfect. No, you're not gonna like every motherfucking commander out there, but guess what? You don't have to like them. You don't have to like them. You don't have to be their friend. You're not going out for a fucking beer. You're trying to be effective. Like when you're pugman, the difference between pugmanning and guild organization, a guild you want to get along with the people that you're guilded with. You want to be friendly with them. You want to like them. You want to laugh with them. You want to have good times. You want to have good banter. You want to have enjoyable moments. When you're pugmanding is essentially like, unless you're like a maniac like me that loves pugmanding is a goal-driven endeavor. And what is the goal for pugmanning? The goal for pugmanning is to grab as whatever players are out there, get them into an organized force to either take or defend objectives. And that is the only fucking goal. You don't fucking have to like the pugmanner to follow them. You just need to be able to make sure they're fucking effective. Who gives a fuck if you like them or not? Are they effective? Is the answer to the question yes? Fucking give them your support. It's as simple as fucking that. If you don't care about defending or taking objectives, fine. If you don't care about winning fights and you just like being a fucking speed bump or a bag, fine. But if you care about even being somewhat productive and competitive, liking the commander or liking the way they command is irrelevant. And there's too many fucking special fucking snowflakes in the game to understand that. Like, I feel like these people haven't ever been part of a competitive sports team in their fucking life where, you know, it's not all roses and flowers. Like, you know, and if you think you can do it better, tag up and try to do it better. Like, don't fucking criticize the guy that's out there trying to pugman the force into some level of effectiveness and then just throw shade on. I see that all the fucking time on newer commanders, people that try. There's people that just throw shade on them, shade on them, shade on them. Like, I don't give a fuck at my stage. I already have my rep. I already know what the fuck I'm doing. I have my following. It means two shits to me what anyone thinks about me. But all these, I see oftentimes tag up to try. They're putting in the effort. And then there's all these fucking a-holes just throwing shade their way. Like, what's the incentive for these guys to keep trying to, you know, fight and organize and put in their effort? There's no incentive. You know, liking the commander is fucking irrelevant. What is going on? Like, I don't understand. And you're never gonna, you know, no two commanders are the same. Fine, you like Commander A, doesn't mean you're gonna like Commander B. It shouldn't fucking matter whether you like Commander A or Commander B once again, or Commander B commands like Commander A. All that should matter is when you're playing, is there an effective commander out there? And it's as simple as that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. If you're not gonna take the role on yourself, don't criticize other people for their mistakes. At least they're trying, they're getting up and doing it, and they're trying to make change. And sitting back and criticizing them over and over and over, and it's just not productive, and it's not helping at all.
Anyone that pugmans, I don't give a fuck who you are. Even people that, you know, in the past we've had some fucking words. At its base, anyone that pugmans, or even that commands, quite frankly, you have my respect from one commander to another, no matter what. No matter what, you have my respect as from one commander to another. Right? So even if we have fucking words, I'll get over it. Trust me, I don't give a fuck. All right? You know, we can have our words and move the fuck on, long as it's not personal. There's some people out there that get very personal, which I think is just fucking hateful and disrespectful. But as long as you don't get personal, throw a little shade, throw a little fucking smack talk, and move the fuck on. It's fine. But if you're willing to put yourself out there and pugman and command, you have my respect. Like Molasses, all right? And I'm gonna use Molasses as a perfect example. Molasses gets out there day after day after day. He's a Textmander 50% of the time. He gets in Discord 50% of the time. But he gets out there and he tries his fucking best. All right? He gets out there. There's people out there that disrespect the guy, and I think it's fucking assholish of them. Like, who the fuck are they? And there's people out there that throw shade or criticize his command. But guess what, motherfuckers? This guy gets out there, puts himself out there, tries his best for the team, and that's all that fucking matters. That's all that fucking matters. All right? You think you can do better? Go fucking do better then. Go fucking do better, alright? If you think you can do better, tag the fuck up, rally a force, and do motherfucking better. Until then, shut the fuck up and let the guy command. He's a nice fucking guy, number one. Alright, I'll be the first to admit that I memed on Molasses before I met him in Discord. Alright, I'll be the first to admit, like, whenever I fought him before when I was in TW, but oh, it's fucking Molasses. Let's just, you know, it's a one push, move the fuck on. But you know what? And this is part of the reason why I'm doing these commander talk radios, because it personalizes a lot of the commanders that we play with or against on the daily. I met Molasses for the first time on SBI, and I couldn't find a more likable fucking gentleman. And when I say gentleman, I mean that sincerely. He is a fucking gentleman. He's a nice guy, and he puts in a lot of fucking effort. He's very sincere. He's helpful. He jokes around a lot. Don't get me wrong, he jokes around a lot. But he's a fucking good dude. And I'll go to bat for fucking Molasses, you know, no matter what. He has my utmost respect, no matter what. there's just people out there that just they don't have the balls, the fucking know-how to fucking pin up at all, and they just throw shade on commanders and pugmanders out there. I don't give a fuck how good or bad they are. Show a little fucking support, or if you think you can do it yourself, fucking do it. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that.
I agree. If you're not willing to do it yourself, then there's no room to talk.
Yo, we went on some fucking crazy tangents. Honestly, I gotta say, new Toon. I started. I usually typically ask all the commanders I interview similar questions. They go off on different tangents, of course, depending on who I'm interviewing. But it's been a pleasure to talk to you, my friend. It's been, we've talked in tells before. When we were linked to DB and prior and DMs and whatnot. But it's been a sincere pleasure to speak to you on Discord.
It has been awesome speaking with you, and Dave. I know many people have mixed emotions about you, and I may not have thought the best about you when we were linked because of VIP and the interactions that the two servers had between each other. But as I grow to watch your streams more and more, and these Commander Talk radios, and I used to watch your stream a lot and improve off of what you do, but seems you stopped streaming. But I mean, you're a good guy. People may not like the exact way you treat your players or how you address them, but in the end of the day, whatever gets the job done and what's making you win the game, that's all that matters, and building a community that is working together well and you guys have fun. You're not, one of those guilds that gets on here and dreads playing the game. You guys are having fun, like you said. You're coming on here most of the time when it gets boring and you're just laughing and having fun and interacting with your community, and I think it's amazing.
I appreciate that. I sincerely do. But let me respond to you. I'm not perfect. I'm a fucking human being just like everyone else. Like when I'm pugmending, I have a different expectation. When I'm private raid, I have a different expectation. When I'm pugmending, I'm very, I try to be very reasonable and a little bit more laid back in my expectations and how I address things. But if you've ever been part of a private raid of mine, I can get heated just like anyone else. But I'm a fucking human being. Like, I hope no one takes it personally, either when I'm pugmending or private. But, I played a lot of competitive sports when I was younger, and it's just who I am. Hopefully, people have thick enough skin to just, deal with it. But I understand if you don't, and, if I'm not your cup of tea, I'm not your cup of tea. I'm not going to take it personally. Trust me, I'm not. I'm out there to help. I'm out there to have a good time, just like everyone else. But do I, think that I'm the perfect commander? No, I fucking suck sometimes. I make mistakes just like anyone else. I fucking have my good days and bad days just like everyone else. Like, it is what it is. Am I the perfect human being? No, I'm fucking flawed just like everyone fucking else. I was born flawed. I will die flawed. I'm not perfect. I will never be perfect. It's just a fact of life. So I get that some people don't like me and some people may actually hate me, although I think hating someone through a video game is a very strong emotion, and that might say more about you than me. But I get that I may not be some people's cup of tea. I would hope that's the way that they use it, not hate, because hating someone through a video game is a little bit cringy. But, if I'm not your cup of tea, I'm not your cup of tea. You have two options. You can either tag up yourself and form another force or follow another commander. The beautiful thing about pugmanding, it's a mutual compact. I'm not obligated to pugmand, and you're not obligated to follow me. I can pugmand when and how I want to, and you can follow me if you want to. If you don't want to follow me, that's your fucking right. Simple as that. Like, if you follow me, we'll get more organized, we'll get more productive, we'll get shit done. But if you don't want to follow me, you don't fucking have to follow me. Fuck, it's a video game, right? And that's, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful things about pugmanding. The thing that, breaks down that is the people that throw shade upon, all these other newer pugmanders without giving them a chance to build a reputation or at least try to get things done. And it's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is unfortunate that people tear other people down on the internet just because of the way they play, and it does suck that most of the commanders that are being brought up to the game are not pursuing it because of the way other people are treating them. But I mean, some people, they may not like you. Like, at first, when I met you, I was with VIP. They made it seem like you were the worst guy ever. Da 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 da.
I'm the boogeyman for a lot of servers. I'm the boogeyman for a lot of servers. But I've come to accept that. I've come to accept that.
And then when we started whispering and I ran with your group a few times, people may not like you, but when you get the job done, I at the end of the day, I could care less whether or not I hate this commander, this for this reason. If they're winning the fights, I will support them 100% of the time. I mean, my feelings aren't hurt over the game. I'm sure your feelings aren't hurt over the game because I mean you've been playing this game for 9-ish years, and I mean I'm sure you've heard it all when it comes to
Heard it all and
command.
then some, my friend. Heard it all and then some.
So I mean, some people just gotta understand that it's just a
Well,
game, and
At the end of the day, we're not going out for a beer. We're just out to fucking take virtual keeps and towers and kill people virtually. That's all we're looking to do. It's as simple as fucking that. But to go back to your other point of why I don't stream as much anymore, it's two reasons. Number one, because of alliances coming up, and I'll be very transparent and explicit about this. On people can make what they want of it, but I've streamed less for two reasons. The first reason I've stopped streaming is because there's very little support from mainnet for World v World streamers, and what put the nail in the coffin for me, and I'll say it straight up, even knowing the fact that I've done these Commander Talk interviews, and just so everyone knows this, I do these Commander Talk radio interviews for multiple reasons, but one of the reasons so we can get to know one another as communities, from commanders, both you're playing with and against, to let everyone learn about all the different guilds that are out there and the different commanders that are out there, kind of have a more civil conversation to encourage a more positive community, in World v World wise across the fucking board. But the other reason is, ANET has, and they've stated as much, watched all of them, and they appreciate the fact that I'm getting input from all these commanders firsthand. And that's why I ask very specific questions. You could tell that I'm asking very specific questions because I want these answers to come from you guys, you commanders firsthand, so ANET can take that information firsthand. It's not regurgitated from me. It's literally you guys saying what affects you as a small commander, a small guild commander, a large guild commander, an old guild commander, a new guild commander, a newer commander, whatever it is. You're hearing it firsthand. But even with that being the fact, they don't support their fucking World v World streamers at all in the fucking slightest. And what put the nail in the coffin for me is there's this PV streamer that started like just 2 months ago or 3 months ago. He has less followers than me, and he has less viewers than me when he streams. All right. I stream World v World. I was probably the largest World v World streamer when I did stream regularly, bar none. Right. And I was a new streamer. This PV streamer started after me, has less followers, less viewers, and they give this motherfucker partner. And that, in my opinion, is just pure disrespect. That's just pure fucking disrespect. Number one, as much as Nova and I go back and forth, Nova, prior to him, also getting discouraged, that man should have had partner fucking years ago. The amount that Nova fucking streamed back in the day was incredible. That man should have had partner years ago. But as far as I go, ANET doesn't appreciate the World v World streamers that it had, and it doesn't appreciate the World v World streamers that it has. So I'm going to do the Commander Talk radios because I want to still encourage a more tight World v World community. I have, of all the guilds I interviewed, I have no problems with any of those commanders. I have no problems with any of those guilds. I hope they have no problems, because what I'm going to do towards Christmas time, I'm going to do a round table where I'm going to invite all the commanders that I interviewed back again before the holidays, and we're all going to sit down and talk together. We'll just shoot the shit and bullshit around. So I'm hoping that just encourages a more respectful community amongst those guilds that sit down, the commanders of those guilds that sit down and talk. So I'm going to keep doing my part. ANET will still continue to hear the feedback from the World v World communities firsthand, but they don't respect or appreciate me or the other World v World commanders enough to continue streaming on the regular. So I'm just not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it. Should that change into the future, then I'll continue doing it again. But they put out a lot of lip service, and they said, hey, we appreciate you pugmanding. We appreciate that you're streaming. We appreciate hearing from all the World v Worlders. We think World v World is a third pillar of GW2. But, beyond the lip service, we haven't seen much, quite frankly. And then when you're giving these PV streamers who have less viewers, less followers, fucking partner in very short amount of time, that's a big middle finger. That's a big fucking middle finger.
I agree.
So I just said, fuck it.
And it's sad that it came to that because I would say you're one of the more experienced commanders on Guild Wars. You're one of the most active commanders, and the fact that you're willing to go the extra length to stream your gameplay and try and make World versus World better as it is, and it's just simply going to ignore that and pick up more PvE ANET or ANET partners. Like I just think it's nonsense. I think it's nonsense.
It's stupid, number one, because you have an oversaturation of PvE game mode. You have an under fucking awareness of one game mode. Like, you'd think that they'd build up the World v World streamers. And I was one of the few commanders, if not the only, in recent, at least in the last 2 years or a year and a half, that there was a handful of us, but I was the one that did it consistently, who streamed with no fucking map cover, no squad cover, live, no delay, open comms across the fucking board. You knew everything as I fucking did it, maybe with a 2 second delay, and I did it like that to encourage a more open conversation and live awareness and exposure to the game mode. And I didn't hide my commands, my comms, my comp. Like, if you wanted to copy me word for word, comp for comp, you could have, quite frankly, right? I mean, there was no secrets to what I was doing. There was no, secret at all. Like, you could literally duplicate what I did. But at the end of the day, it is. I love streaming too. I gotta be honest with you. I fucking love streaming. I still love streaming. I love doing this shit. But if anyone's not gonna fucking appreciate it and forget appreciation, but actually disrespect the World v World streamers by giving lesser known, newer PV streamers partner in like a fucking month and a half, then fuck it. That's a big fuck you to us. Then go fucking promote your own fucking game mode. It's not my job to promote your game mode. I'll still build a community because I still care about World v World. I'll still build a community, but if you expect me to promote your fucking game mode at the same time, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if they're not gonna reach out and help you for helping them, then there's just no tie there. There's no reason to continue streaming. I mean,
And let's be real, like, and I bet you, because I know how many players sent me tells, how many players either picked up the game due to watching me stream or came back to the game to World of World due to me streaming. A fuckload did. I was out when I was streaming. I was about averaging about one a day, and I'd stream for about 6 or 7 months. So that being said, do the fucking math. I brought at least one a day back to the game or into the game due to me streaming. And if you don't give a fuck, then you don't give a fuck. And the sad part about it is, even if I got partner, I didn't give a fuck about the gems that they would have given. Like, you get gems, right? So I said, I'll give the gems out to the stream. I don't give a fuck about that. That's fine. You get a discount. You get a cut of every sale that you make, for the game. And what I said is, I don't even want the cut. Don't give me any fucking money. Instead, give that amount of money that you were gonna give me, give it back to the fucking players that are purchasing the game. So you were gonna give me a 10% cut of every sale I made off my Twitch. Don't do that for me. Just give them 10% off permanently on fucking the stuff that they buy. And then the last thing is, you get the benefit of being able to transfer servers for free. I would have certainly made use of that because I pugmanned. I would have pugmanned all over the fucking place. Just pugmanned left, right, and center. And this game mode needs more pugmanners, not less. It would have been a boon for this fucking game if I just hop up, pugman whenever we're outmanned or outnumbered somewhere, and just fucking try to get a force together, get something done, and then move the fuck on. It would have been beautiful. Traveling fucking pugmander.
yeah,
Have troops need pugmander, we'll fucking travel. But ANET didn't see it. They didn't appreciate it, certainly, so fuck them.
I mean, the free transfers would go a long way. As I see, I mean, you're a pugmander. You're willing to go the extra mile, like you said. You're willing to train people's troops. You're willing to help them get better. You're willing to do a lot of things for their players and other guilds, so that they stay active in the game mode. And I guess NET just doesn't see that as valued, and I don't get why, but it's very stupid of NET. And PvE is only half of this game, and they need to expand their partners.
It's a third. It's not even a half,
There's no need for that many PvE partners. Like, PvE is a joke. World v World needs attention immediately, or it's going to die.
I agree with you.
It is already dying. So I mean, it needs to pick it up.
So before we end this, and we don't, I want to give you. I'm gonna take questions from the people in Twitch. But before I do that, I would like to give you an open forum to tell people about your guild and send out a recruitment message for your guild. And if you'd like to post in the Twitch a link where people can join your guild. Are you guys recruiting? Number one, I'll ask.
Yes, we are recruiting.
And if someone wanted to join FTL, tell us a really quick elevator pitch about who you are. They may have not been here at the beginning, and then how they can join your guild.
FTL is a casual competitive fight guild that is forming on Dragon Brand servers. We focus on fights and getting better and improvement. If you're a new, returning, or older World vs. World player, you're welcome to join the guild. We're focused on Dragon Brand and, you know,
And how can they join? Where do they got to go?
you can join our Discord server, and then you can just shoot either me or Twitch a message.
Can you link me your Discord server and Discord, and I'll post it on the Twitch for people?
Yeah. There you go.
If anyone is interested in joining FTL, they're on Dragon Brand. That is the Discord link. Please drop an application there. And then I'll take questions from anyone on Twitch. Anyone have any questions for new Toon? All right, here's one. What's the biggest pet peeve for new Toon in World v World?
Pet peeve?
Mhm.
I would say not joining comms or pin sniping, but mainly joining comms. I mean, if you're willing to play the game mode, you should be willing to join comms. You don't have to talk. I mean, joining comms is a big thing, and it improves the game mode and the coordination of your group drastically. I mean, we haven't started doing comms required raids, but we're going to start, and it's just a key part of the fight standard.
Okay. Anyone else have any other questions? Did you already ask if Newton is a manager? He's not a manager, but he's in a excuse me, leadership position IRL. So up to date, 9 of the 10 commanders that we've interviewed have all been in leadership positions, including Newton. I already asked how long he's been playing. Why did you choose DB? I guess that's a question I didn't ask.
Well, I originally started on Sanctum of Raw.
Wait, were you on Sanctum World back in the day or post Indo?
Yeah, no, I think it was post Indo.
Okay.
And then I had a free transfer, and I guess yeah, my dad was on the Dragon Brand server, so he was running with the guild at the time. I don't really remember the guild, but I was like, oh, can I run with you, Dad? And he's like, yeah, go ahead. And I had a free transfer, so I transferred over to Dragon Brand, and it just stuck. And I haven't really had the desire to transfer over because I thought the server could be something great and they could improve, but I mean, they're not looking to improve. They're kind of just letting it happen. So we're the last straw for Dragon Brand. I mean, to be real.
There's a question in Twitch. I'll answer that question. Mawien, what do you think about Honeymoon using alts to scout free on different servers at Indamir? I honestly, at first, I didn't realize what he was doing, but then I realized what he was doing. But to be honest, some people don't like it, but there's no secret. Just because you know where the enemy is, number one, I already know where the enemy is because I have a commander list here. So oftentimes, what Honeymoon is telling me doesn't mean anything. Quite frankly, I look at this more than I listen to Honeymoon. But number two, just because you know where the enemy is doesn't mean you're gonna win the fucking fight. Knowing where the enemy is and being able to win the fight are two completely different fucking things. So while people are like, yeah, Honeymoon has alts all over the fucking place, he does. There's no denying it at all. But quite frankly, it doesn't do anything for me. Like, the only time that it's useful is, I can ask, hey, Honeymoon, are there any blobs out? He's like, yeah, this map, the so and so has this map queued and this map queued and this map queued. It doesn't mean anything except telling me that so and so has this map queued, this map queued, and this map queued. And then I look at my fucking friends list and I see, you know, where everyone is. This is actually more informative to me than what Honeymoon does. Like, you can see exactly where everyone and their mother is, especially when you're playing on a link. Right? You don't need fucking Honeymoon. No one needs a Honeymoon. As long as you create a friends list that has all the commanders on there, you know where all the commanders are at all times. That way, you also know where all the groups are at all times. He goes to SMC to call out tag movements, though, even hidden tags. I mean, but what good is that? That doesn't mean anything. You still gotta win the fight. Like, calling out the movements doesn't do dick all. You still gotta win the fight or lose the fight, right? And I like the thing that makes, you know, is most informative today is finding fights, and you can do that with a properly built friends list. If you're a commander today and you don't have a friends list built like mine, then you're not really commanding to the max. I'm just putting it straight up. None of my there's no friends on here. This is a list of every commander that's active in the fucking game. My friends list is my followers list.
Ever since I started watching Indo, and ever since we were paired, I actually started building this friends list like you have it. I mean, Honeymoon's ult accounts, they do nothing. He's not trolling the server. He's not griefing the server by pulling tactics. He's simply giving a call out, and like I just said, when you log on the game and your account status is online and it shows the borderline you're on, it doesn't matter if Honeymoon has 50 alt accounts on your server or not. I mean, at the end of the day, you're gonna be found. There's no hiding in World versus World. There's only 4 maps to go to, and there's only so many objectives you can hide at. So, I mean, you're gonna get found, and it doesn't really matter.
I mean, people make a big deal about Honeymoon's accounts, and he can do whatever the fuck he wants. It's a video game. It's his game. It's his life. Whatever. But you know, there's no advantage that Honeymoon gives me. There's zero advantage that Honeymoon gives me, quite frankly, that I don't have already on my own by building a proper friends list. But let me ask the second question. What does the FTL commander think about other servers using... Oh, well, he just said that. He goes to SMC. Oh, right, we talked about that. It saves a lot of dancing around puddles. Actually, you can throw that question back yourself. Why not to do it? I'm not sure. If alliances are delayed for a while, would they want to transfer servers? Okay, that's a good question. Nalan has asked, if alliances are delayed for a while, would you guys want to transfer servers, or are you happy staying on DB?
It depends on how long alliances would be delayed for. We were planning on moving, but we did take in regard that alliances were coming. But you know how it is; they're spotty with their new content. So, I mean, we'll give it like 3 months, and in 3 months we should have a decent size group committed to the guild. So we'll be able to make a decision off that. But I mean, DB, it's very hard to work with players or other guilds on DB, for example, that don't really want to work together. I mean, it's hard. It's very hard. And I mean, it would be nice to move off the server, but at the same time, we gotta try, you know, and make something great of DB, but it's very spotty. But I'm sure if we give it enough effort and time, you know, we'll make something happen.
I mean, you guys have already made progress, in my opinion.
I mean, we're getting 20 in comms, 20 in squad, so running meta classes, so we're making something happen.
That's progress. That's progress. Don't sell yourself short. That's fucking progress, my friend, especially on DB. Like, take this to heart, all right? And I want you to take this to heart, and take it back to the guild. Every notch and goal that you meet on DB, know this: that if you were on any other fucking server, it would have been at least 3 times easier. So if you've accomplished a goal on DB, you've done it the hard fucking way. And let me say this: trial by fire is the best way. OP today would not have been, or would not be as successful as it is if I wasn't linked to DB. After I got linked to DB, I said, never fucking again am I gonna be reliant on the motherfucking host. and there's no disrespect to UDB guys out there, but it is what it is. I said never fucking again am I gonna be reliant on the fucking host that I'm attached to. The way that DR is today, OP is today, I don't give a fuck who I'm linked to. I get a good link or a bad link, it don't fucking matter. I can put up a force whenever I pugman at whenever, however, whatever, and get something accomplished. I don't give a fuck who we're linked to anymore. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant to me. I've built OP into a self-sustained force. The community on DR into a self-sustained force where between the pugs and the OP people, it doesn't matter whether I have anyone from the link at all present. Period. And I wouldn't have taken this attitude if I didn't get linked to DB and go through 2 months of hell.
I mean, I can't sit here and be like, oh, you're just sitting on the server, da da da, when it's true. I mean, DB the server just did not cooperate with Indo at all. I mean, I can get where you're coming from with the.
And it's nothing personal. I'm sure there's. Listen, I'm sure. I'm sure there are. There are wonderful, wonderful, wonderful fucking people on DB. There's really, really nice people on DB. There's just people I'm sure that if we met real life, we'd go out and have a beer and have a good time. There's nothing taking away from the individuals on the server. All right, and let me make that clear. It's just the leadership on that server via the VIP stranglehold that it has is toxic as fuck, and that's as simple as that. But that led me to make OP that much more self-sustaining. Like right now, DR probably packs the punch of a host without having the fucking numbers of a host. Like, quite frankly, oftentimes, and you could see it in the KDR. If you don't believe me, you don't want, bullshitting, just look at the KDR. When DR is linked to a server versus when DR is not linked to a server. We probably carry at times the host more than the fucking host does. Where we pack the punch of a host while being a fucking link. And that all happened out of being, linked with DB, where I was like, fuck it, we need to change something. I can't go through, I can't be at the mercy of the fucking ANET, RNG fucking nonsense links, and that just happened. So, all that to be said, if you're willing to stay strong there, don't get demoralized. Your guild, while you are doing it hard mode to the max, know and appreciate that you're doing it hard mode as a guild, so don't get discouraged. But it'll make your guild that much stronger if you're able to do it hard mode. I guess is what I'm trying to say. I mean, because then, especially if you're building a hardcore, strong community in a toxic atmosphere where there's guilds and leadership and people actively trying to make you fail, and you still pull off success, who the fuck is gonna touch you after that? No one's gonna motherfucking touch you after that, right? Who's gonna hold a fucking candle to FTL after you build a solid motherfucking community in a toxic cesspool of a motherfucking server? And if you can overcome that fucking bullshit and build something great, that's it. Fucking, that's all she fucking wrote. Bring it home. But you gotta fucking stay strong. You gotta be able to stay committed. You can't get discouraged. You can't give up. But I'm telling you, man, if you're able to do it, you'll come out that much stronger. And at that point, it won't fucking matter. It won't fucking matter.
I agree. I mean, the challenge is going to be hard to get it to a level of a normal server that would cooperate with the commander, but we'll make it work. And I mean, Stwitch has already dropped a lot of time into this project as I have too, and I mean, he's commanding 5 days a week at least, so I mean, it's good stuff.
Stick with it. Don't get discouraged. Don't get discouraged. Tell Stoich, even after the bullshit, don't get discouraged. I have faith. Any other questions for new Toon? Otherwise, I'll give him the last word and I'll end the interview. Anyone have any questions? Does he like cats? I'm not gonna. He can answer if he wants, but it's irrelevant.
I'm more of a dog person.
He's more of a dog person. Any other questions? All right. Well, that's it then. So I'm gonna give you the last word, New Toon. You can end it with whatever you want. Last word is yours, my friend.
thank you for having me on your Commander Talk Show. It was a blast. I look forward to talking to you in the future as we improve as a guild and near to come interactions on the battlefield.
I appreciate that, and you know, I wish you guys the best of luck, man. I truly do. But thanks so much for dropping by, and we'll see you out on the battlefield, brother.
All right.
Good luck. Listen to me. Don't fucking give up. No one's gonna be more disappointed than I if you guys give up. Do not fucking give up. All right?
I can't talk all this and then give up now. I got
Don't
too
fucking
committed.
give. Don't motherfucking give up. I have faith.
We'll make
have
it.
faith.
I'm sure. We're committed. We're really committed.
All right. All right, yo. Well, you have a lovely evening. Thank you for dropping by. Thank you for spending the time. I truly appreciate it.
All right, no problem, man. Catch you later.
All right. Have a good night. Take care.
You too.
Nice fucking guy. Really, really nice guy. You know, I've spoken with him in the past via like tells and DMs and stuff. Never in comms. Nice, nice fucking dude. It really was a pleasure talking to him. I think that's gonna be my guild to watch out for. I mean, if they have attitudes like that and they're able to build it on DB of all fucking servers, they'll make something out of it. Trial by motherfucking fire if you're able to build something on that fucking server. Trial by motherfucking server. It's a fire, I'm sorry. It's hard as shit to do something there. Look to other commanders who've been around for help. Yeah, I agree with you, Socks. Killer, I agree with you. This reminded me of Gordon Ramsay going to fixed restaurants. Nah, I mean, it's not. Listen to me. It's more of a conversation, you know, a debate at times, you know, changing of ideas. I've said this before. There's no such thing as a good commander or bad commander, and there's no such thing as one way to command. There's only, in my opinion, two ways to look at it. There's no such thing as a good commander, bad commander. It's only effective commander and ineffective commander. Now, how you create that effectiveness is different from commander to commander to commander. And that's all that fucking matters. Is your commander effective? Yes. That's all. Done. End of story. How often will you do this sort of stream? I've been doing them once a week. If you actually go back and look at my Twitch, this was my 9th stream. I've been doing it for 9 weeks consecutively. In the past, I have interviewed, I'll tell you guys right now, I'll go through the list. Wait, if you guys want to go take a peek. I've interviewed Thorn from Strikeforce. I've interviewed Dark Cloud from Pugs, Bullyfoot from Hate, Voodoo from Beers, Rivalia from Flux, Killer Squirrel from Socks, Follow Me for Bags from Jade, Fiona from Ill, Luna from Name, and then today is new Toon from the new guild FTL. I have commanders lined up until 3rd week of January. Different commanders lined up till 3rd week of January. That's including 1 week where I'm going to do a commander roundtable where I'm just going to invite all the commanders up to that point to just sit around a roundtable and just shoot the shit, talk about whatever the fuck, anything, you know. So we'll have about, I think I'll probably do it just before the Christmas holidays, the week before. And we'll probably have like 10, 11, 12 commanders just shooting the shit, talking about whatever the fuck. Maybe we'll have some interesting debates and arguments going. Who knows? We'll see. You know, maybe it could be anything. I'm not gonna have a set agenda for the roundtable. I'm just gonna see where the fucking night leads. Get some drinks and fucking send it. You know. Are there any commanders that are banned from Commander Talk? No. I will interview everybody and anybody, and it will always and here's the guarantee you have from me, and it's on the stream. I will always be respectful to whoever comes on the show. We don't have to like each other. We don't even have to agree with each other. But I will always interview you respectfully because I think it's important that everyone learns about different commanders and their guilds, number one. But I also think it's important that ANET hears what all the different types of commanders from different guilds are looking, how they're looking at World v World, why they're playing World v World, why they're leading their guilds and communities as they do, and what the commanders are looking to ANET for in regards to the future of World v World. So, you know, whether you like me or not, you're welcome on the show. The guarantee you have from me is I will always speak to you respectfully. We may, like we did here, and I asked him for permission. Like we played the incident that happened with me and Stoich, and then we talked about it. It was a little bit of a heated incident, a weird incident. I was a bit cheeky myself. He might have been inappropriate for joining an enemy commander's Discord and just kind of going off like that. But at the end of the day, we'll talk about it and move the fuck on. I'm not gonna, kind of bring him on the show and then juke him or like kind of embarrass him or humiliate anyone. That's not my intention. That's not the purpose of Commander Talk Radio. All right. So if you're a commander out there, small guild, medium guild, large guild, new guild, new commander, old commander, experienced commander, returning commander, I don't give a fuck. If you command regularly in whatever way, shape, or form that makes you happy, roaming guild commander, I don't give a fuck. Let me know. Send me a DM in Discord, and I'll line you up. I am booked out till January, but I'm happy to line up interviews post January into February. I mean, even just going off this commander list alone, I have enough commanders for fucking a year and 3 months. If I do one a week. Have you had any negative feedback from this type of stream? No. I mean, what negative feedback could there possibly be? I expose different commanders. When I say expose, I mean, allow people to learn about different commanders from different servers, and I give an opportunity for all these commanders to, talk about their guilds, what they're out there for, and, maybe even hopefully throw a little recruitment their way as well, So I think there's nothing but positive from these things. I don't think there's anything negative. At least I can't think of anything negative. I'm actually surprised that in the past no one's ever done this before. But here I am. When is the Molasses interview? We'll do a Molasses interview for sure. But anyways, with that, I think I'm going to leave this, go Pugman for a bit, and then call it a night, my friends. Unless anyone has anything, they want to throw in there. I want to just thank Toon from FTL again. Thank you for, spending the time with me this evening. And I want to say I wish you and your guild nothing but, success. I hope all the goals that you're out there to achieve, you accomplish them. And, more competitive guilds out there, the better. So get out there, kick ass. Wish you the best, man. All right, you all have a lovely evening. Good night, and we'll see each other next Thursday. You won't see